Remember Yanni versus Laurel. What do you hear? Yanni or Laurel? Check. Everyone in chat, how is everyone doing? Told that everyone is having a wonderful day. So once again, what do you hear? Lenny or Laurel? For me, if I really squint hard enough, okay, if I really try hard enough, I can hear both. But I don't know both sounds correct. Hello, can you guys hear me? Testing 1, 2, 3. Audio test. Audio check. 1, 2, 3. Alright.
If you thought Yanni versus Laurel was mind-blowing...
Audio is good, audio is good. Audio is good. Hello everyone, it's me, and today let's learn how to listen and talk interestingly. Alright, sounds good. Okay. Alright, good. Sorry, just one. I'm doing some technical. I will never leave. Dun 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 dun. Even if we go through changes, even when we're old, no matter where I go, I will always be vertical. Kimi to natsu no owari, shourai no yume, okida kibou wa wasurenai. 我对你付出的青春，这么多年，换来了一句谢谢你的成全，成全了你的潇洒与冒险，成全了我的碧海蓝天。它许你的海誓山盟溢于千言，我只有一句不后悔的成全。 成全了你的今天与明天，成全了我的下个夏天。Alright, let's start. Hi everyone, it's me. Hello everyone, it's me, and today let's learn about listening and talking interestingly together. Let's go.
If you thought Yanny versus Laurel was mind-blowing, you ain't seen, or should I say, you ain't heard nothing yet. Because this auditory illusion that popped up in the wake of Yanny versus Laurel is so much better. Unlike Laurel, most people can actually switch between what they're hearing with this one. In fact, the effect here is so strong you'll never be able to trust your own senses again. So even if you have heard of this one before, stick around, because to analyze the truth of what's going on in this one, we're gonna be unwrapping a whole slew of other illusions that prove just how lazy and easy to manipulate our brains actually are.
How to manipulate the other people's brains, your brains.
First, just listen. Don't go down in the comments yet. What did you just hear? Did you hear this word? Or did you hear this? Now, try switching between them by focusing on one word at a time. If everything's going according to plan, you should be able to switch between them based on which word you have currently in your vision. And now, here's the original video, which, as you watch it, should actually strengthen your perception of Green Needle. But here's the kicker. What's actually being said here is Brainstorm. That's the character's name from the show Ben 10 where this toy originates. But how all this works is gonna blow your mind. Blow your ears. Wait, no, that just sounds painful. Anyway, hello internet. Welcome to Film Theory. The show.
Oh my gosh! Hello everyone, welcome to Film Theory.
That's entirely justified in covering this topic today, since I sometimes cover the science, psychology, and lore of YouTube videos. So by this point, I'm sure we're all familiar and totally sick of the Yanny-Laurel debate, right? Laurel. Last stats I saw, 47% of people were able to hear Yanny and 53% were able to hear Laurel. Let me give you another shot here. Laurel. Honestly, for the life of me, I can only hear Laurel, until of course you start pitch shifting it. And honestly, that's my big problem with this auditory illusion. Most people are stuck only hearing one of the two, and they have a really hard time hearing the other one without some kind of big change, whereas most people are able to switch between the Brainstorm Green Needle audio pretty darn easily. In fact, I can even control it for you. I don't even have to show the words. How cool is this? But here's the best part. Unlike Yanny-Laurel, where the final explanation about what was really going on was quite honestly kind of boring, talking about higher and lower frequencies being overlaid and different sound qualities coming out of different speakers, blah blah blah, yawn. The reasons behind why we experience the Brainstorm Green Needle auditory illusion actually reveal a lot about how our brains function, how lazy they are, and how unreliable our senses can be.
I mean, yeah, the part in which like storm or needle is quite.
So get ready to start distrusting yourself, cause here we go. To begin, scientists would classify the Brainstorm Green Needle illusion as an example of what's known as bistable perception, where
bistable perception.
a stimulus is just too ambiguous for human senses to process with only one interpretation. These are the sorts of illusions that allow you to switch between how you're seeing them.
Rabbit or duck? Okay. I can think of one. Like in Korea, we always say there, which means yes, 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 yes.
Case of our Ben 10 friend, it's how you're able to hear on one playthrough and just as well on a second playthrough. But auditory illusions like this are incredibly rare. Most bistable stimuli are visual, like the Schroeder staircase, where you can either see the staircase going up and to the left, or you can see an upside down staircase going down and to the right. There's the all-time classic faces versus vases, or you can always go with the internet's favorite, the twirly girly, where as you watch, you can actually see her spinning in one direction, then all of a sudden, out of the blue, she'll just switch directions. Scientific surveys have shown that most people start seeing her rotating clockwise, a 65-35 split. But I swear, I never could see her going anything but counterclockwise until actually working on this episode. Then, I just used the arrow keys to have YouTube jump forwards and backwards by 5 seconds to break the flow of the image briefly. Suddenly, I was able to see it moving in both ways. It is crazy. So, if you're like me and having trouble seeing it rotating in the opposite direction, try that. I'll give you a few seconds to buffer while I deliver you a musical interlude.
Pretty cunning!
Oh.
Pretty cunning!
Wow!
Pretty cunning!
Walking water!
Pretty cunning!
Walking water, different planet.
Oh and by the way, don't believe online articles that say which direction you see her spinning determines your dominant brain hemisphere, or it's an indicator of how smart you are. Science has actually debunked all of that. One of the other interesting wrinkles of Brainstorm Green Needle is that it's a cross-modal problem.
Cross-modal problem.
Which means that it involves multiple different senses, hearing and sight. Yanni versus Laurel is just auditory. You see, our brains are constantly piecing together bits of information from all of our senses to form solid ideas of objects and events in the world around us. Usually, these pieces of information complement and confirm each other, thereby improving the reliability of our perception. But when things don't match up in the way that the brain expects, that's when you get some weird results. Here's one of my all-time favorites, the motion bounce illusion. Watch these two balls pass through each other. Nothing super remarkable, right? Now watch it again. Did the balls pass through each other again? Or did they bounce off of each other? Watch them bounce again. It's the exact same thing I showed you the first time, but your brain perceives the balls bouncing off each other because the sound triggers it to think that there was some sort of collision happening. It's using past experience of balls coming together, coupled with the sound that it's hearing to inform what you're seeing. And it's telling you that you should be seeing a collision, and your perception adjusts accordingly. The same is true for this next illusion. How many times do you see Deadpool's face appear on screen? Twice, right? Let's try it again.
Once.
Twice again. Now let's slow it way down while keeping the sound in. You see that it only happens once. This phenomenon is called the sound-induced flash illusion.
Sound-induced flash illusions. Flash!
Where the sound was influencing what you were seeing happening on screen. So again, we get an example of a cross-modal illusion, where our sense of hearing is affecting our perception of sight. And it's not just limited to those two senses. Both hearing and sight can affect touch too. Take, for instance, the marble hand illusion, which is pretty darn wild. Scientists hit participants' hands with a small hammer while playing a noise. The noise starts off as just the sound of a hammer hitting skin, but it slowly transitions to the sound of a hammer hitting marble. And get this, across the board, the test subjects reported their hand feeling heavier, stiffer, and harder. But if you think that was crazy on its own, get this, the test also showed their skin conductance, or the electrical conductivity of their skin, also went down, just like you would see out of an object made of stone. Crazy. Now, admittedly, it's a bit difficult to smack your hand with a hammer over the internet. So instead, let's try something else. Put on
Yeah, if you do that, it's quite hard to perform these illusions. Yeah, tricky.
Headphones and start rubbing your hands together like this in 3, 2, 1. Felt pretty normal, right? All right, let's try it again in 3, 2, 1. Your hands should have felt moister that time, did they? Now stop rubbing those gross moist hands of yours and let's try one more time in 3, 2, 1. There, that should have helped dry them off for you. This phenomenon is called the parchment hand illusion, where sound is directly influencing your sense of touch. You are basically feeling the feelings that the sounds are telling you to feel.
What is going on here? Oh my... What? Do you know about... Wait... What? The... Oh...
Feels pretty good, and wet and moist and sticky, which is just kinda weird. Sure, all this is fun and games, but how do all these cross-modal illusions apply to Brainstorm and Green Needle? Well, look at the original video. Notice how the podium flashes 3 times. Even though the toy is officially saying brainstorm, the word brainstorm is only 2 syllables, but we're seeing 3 flashes from the toy, which seems like they should coincide with the syllables that we're hearing. Our brain is looking to hear a 3-syllable phrase that'll match up with the cadence of those flashes, and the phrase that best matches is Green Needle, or other things that are kind of close. But obviously that can't be the whole story here, because as I demonstrated at the top of the episode, you were able to hear both Brainstorm and Green Needle without me ever showing you a video clip. All it took was hearing the audio and seeing the words. And this is perhaps the biggest differentiator with Yanni versus Laurel, because no amount of me showing you Yanni on screen while playing the audio is gonna get you to hear it if if you can't already. Well, it turns out that one of the major reasons we hear and are able to switch between the words brainstorm and green needle is because of the psychological process of priming, where your brain gets preconditioned into one thought pattern and thus tries to fit new stimuli into the pattern moving forward.
Oh, priming. It's like preconditions until if A happens, B happens. Even though it's not true, it just primed to be wow. Wow.
For instance, let me talk to you about how much I love showers. Now, that might seem a bit weird for me to talk about right now, but sometimes I just can't help it. I love talking about and taking showers.
Okay.
I love getting clean, I love washing my hair, I like singing and thinking in the shower. I love the shower, I love the shower. I also got a confession. I love washing my hands in the sink.
I love the shower. I love the shower. I also got the same.
Use Old Spice in water or Dove in water mostly, but sometimes if I'm feeling particularly wild and slippery, I'm not opposed to the occasional Irish Spring in water. But
With the rubber ducky.
enough about my bathing and hygiene habits. If I were to ask you to complete this word that you see on screen right now, what would you say?
Soap.
Most people at this point should say soap, thanks to the effect of priming, specifically associative priming. I got you thinking in the pattern of bathrooms and washing, which makes you much more likely to see those letters and think soap rather than things like step, stop, seep, or any of the other words that fit that pattern. Think about associative priming like a web, with each word as its own node in that web. I activated all of the words around soap without actually saying soap itself.
Wait, what? What are you doing to my brain? What the? Oh my goodness.
So when presented with the opportunity to fill in that word, your brain jumped at the chance. But priming can also have some unexpected consequences too. For instance, stereotypes are actually a form of psychological priming. One of the most extreme examples to show this came from a study by Shih, Patinsky, and Embody, where they took Asian American women and gave them a math test. Sucks to be subjects in that study. Now,
The stereotype is a form of priming. That I can sort of understand because it really pre-programs into the cognitions of our brains. Sometimes it's not for good. Sometimes it can lead to disaster.
generally believed stereotype for those who have Asian descent is that they're great at math.
Calculator, why not calculate now? Calculate now. Skip school to attend county-wide math competitions. Only in Chinese class is a 98 frowny face material. Asians. Oh!
And conversely, the stereotype for women is that they're worse in math than men. Hey, don't shoot the messenger. I'm not the one who said it. It's society, okay? Take it up with society.
Society stereotypes have to change, need to change to treat both genders more better, okay? Significantly more better. Significantly more better is it a word? No, that's not a word more better, right? Much better, yeah, much better.
You probably already have on Twitter somewhere. Anyway, in the test, one group was primed to focus on their Asian identity, and the other was primed to focus on their female identity. And get this, the group who was primed with the positive stereotype outperformed the control group, while the one who was primed with the negative stereotype performed worse. Now, when it comes to brainstorm versus green needle, when you choose to focus on one of the two words on screen to try and switch what you're hearing, that's direct priming in action. You're using visual stimuli to trigger your brain into thinking along a certain pattern. And what you hear is affected accordingly. Honestly, if I were to say brain needle and then show you the words brain needle and then play the clip for you, there's probably a pretty strong likelihood that you just heard brain needle. And that isn't even one of our options. It's priming in its prime. You've been primed in a way that the Yanny Laurel auditory illusion could never do. So in short, I hope today's episode proved two things for you. First, that your senses are actually completely unreliable. We can't count on our brains to tell us anything accurately. I mean, think about it. Every second, your brain is trying to make sense of all your sensory inputs to create a mental map of the world around you.
a mental map around you,
Processing
around
power
us.
this takes is immense, estimated to be up to the equivalent of 100 million MIPS. That's 100 million instructions per second if your brain were built like a standard computer. So your brain comes up with all sorts of shortcuts to help you quickly sort and categorize things in patterns. Tactics like priming means that we don't have to consciously look at every item in a room and rack our brains for a definition.
I think that's one of the reasons why some people can, like, through practice, they can speak multiple different languages. My goal is to be a hyperpolyglotism. I was like hyperpolyglot, in which I can speak significantly more language than a normal polyglot, than a normal linguists. In which I have to prime myself to speak more, listen more of that particular language, be more familiarized with that kind of languages.
You just instantly know that a chair is a chair is a chair, despite all three of those things looking fairly different from each other. And secondly, look on the upside. The next time one of these controversial mystery videos hits YouTube and the rest of social media hard, you'll know the secrets behind why everyone's losing their collective online shorts, and you'll be able to be the person to set the record straight. Instead of shaming people because they're too old to hear the right word, or going on a rage-fueled bender in the comments section, you'll be able to tackle the next magic video craze armed with the knowledge that all of our brains have a little bit of faulty wiring, and that using just a little bit of science, we can trick them into seeing and hearing and feeling all sorts of crazy, inexplicable things.
Thank you so much, MadPat. Yes, that's right. This sort of openness, this sort of welcoming things need to be properly educated with appropriate educations involved. You need to be taught, you need to be you need to be educated. You need to learn more of these sort of things instead of just being stereotyped in this kind of priming involved. So that when you recognize that this kind of stereotype is involved, this sort of priming is involved, you can counterattack, you counter-react, you can know what is right and wrong about it. Openness requires education.
Except they're totally splicable. We just splicked them. Remember that our brains are doing a lot of work all the time, so they're always looking for ways to be lazier and work more efficiently. Now, you're armed with the knowledge that the illusions we covered today are all examples of what happens when things slip through the cracks.
The imagination and creativity part of human mind, right, is really important to keep on improving with proper growth.
Unfortunately, after watching this episode, you've also realized that you've been primed to click on the subscribe button as soon as I say, but hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And actually, if we're being 100% honest, it's more likely that you've been primed to just click to another video when I say those words. But hey, a click on the subscribe button would be really nice and really appreciated. And...
Well, that's awesome, isn't it? Do remember to subscribe to the Film Theorists and also subscribe to my channel. Sincere appreciation for all of you for enjoying this video together with me. It's quite educational and entertaining to watch. Entertainment for the win! Thank you so much for watching this video together with me. If you do like this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you have anything to share with us. Don't forget to follow my channel. And one more time, it's like, share, and subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you have anything to share with us. Don't forget to follow my channel. And I sincerely appreciate all of your support and encouragement for my work. Thank you so much once again. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye bye! Once again, subscribe to my channel! Thank you so much! Thank you. Subscribe. Hopefully that was recorded. Hello everyone, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye bye! Once again, subscribe to my channel! Thank you so much! Thank you. Subscribe. No,
that's on screen to try and switch what you're hearing. That's
interesting. 我想要那个给的一个。Hyperpolyglotism. Gosh， 我们再视频我们再。Hi everyone, it's me, and today Jurassic Park. Let's learn to save. 炸炸 Hi everyone, it's me, Jurassic Park. Let's learn to save Jurassic World together. Let's go.
Hold on, people. Stop the Jeep ride. Just stop it. Yo, John Williams, cut the music. Steven Spielberg, you should know better. If I'd made this mistake, the internet would be running me out of town on a rail. Come on, Stevie. The Triceratops, Velociraptor, and T-Rex aren't from the Jurassic period, meaning that the park should be called Cretaceous World.
Cretaceous Park, Cretaceous World.
Hey, no one said scientific accuracy was catchy.
Let's go!
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory!
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory! Hello!
Founding members of the Chris Pratt Appreciation Club. I mean, seriously, this guy can do no wrong in my eyes. Well, except for maybe Passengers. Yeah, and for totally causing the universe to get dusted. But seriously, this guy is my perpetual man crush Monday. Attention, all you internet shippers. Here's the new hashtag, #PrattPat.
Or, aka Mario! It's me, Mario!
So of course, as Chris Pratt's biggest, totally not creepy, totally not a stalker fan, you know that I'm excited about the new Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I mean, what is not to love about a Six Flags full of dinosaurs? Yeah, sure, but that was just growing pains. Jurassic World, open to the public, and had... Okay, fine. Filling a park with bloodthirsty prehistoric beasts may not be the safest choice. Which begs the question then, is a dino park really doomed for failure, multiple casualties, and more lawsuits than you can shake a shirtless Jeff Goldblum at? And the answer is a decided no. For as difficult as it might seem to run a park like this, all of it, and I do mean all of it, could have been easily avoided if the people running the park had just done some basic research.
Basic research and have proper appropriate management skills.
Of all the problems of a major theme park and a major zoo.
Right you are, two-eyed Nick Fury. The Jurassic Parks do in fact have all the problems of a mega-sized zoo coupled with the danger factor of an amusement park. But after studying all of the Jurassic Park films, yes, even Jurassic Park 3, I've come to the conclusion that 3 simple fixes could have completely reversed the course of all of these movies, resulting in hundreds of lives saved.
Interesting, so let's learn about it more together.
And also a few billion less at the box office. But who's counting? So get ready! Today we're learning how Jurassic World should protect when dinos attack. First, we have to talk space. Now, this should come as no surprise, but wild animals need space in captivity to thrive. If an animal is kept in an enclosure that's too small, well, things are gonna start to get a little hairy. Or I suppose if you're keeping a dinosaur scaly? Feathery? At this point, is it feathery now? Is it feathery now? Anyway, the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, or AZA, created a manual with the basic tenets of how to treat animals in confinement. Per the manual, there are strict minimums for the amount of space needed for each species based on their size. For example, a lion needs a minimum of 10,000 square feet, a little over the size of a baseball diamond's infield or 5 tennis courts. If that sounds like a lot, well, consider this. In the wild, a typical lion's territory is 100 square miles.
Everything the light touches is our kingdom.
That's
Lion King!
Nearly 300,000 times more than what's being given to them in captivity. But okay, if this is the standard for keeping animals happy in captivity in a humane way, we can apply similar metrics to a dinosaur, and thus approximate the minimum amount of space needed to keep these ancient creatures in check.
Approximate, estimate.
So the biggest lions are about 4 foot by 8 foot in size, meaning that for every 32 square feet a lion, he needs 10,000 square feet to roam freely. Per scientists, the average T-Rex was just a wee bit bigger, at 18 feet by 40 feet. So for the 720 square feet that a T-Rex covers, he's gonna need 32 over 10,000 equals 720 over X, a minimum of 225,000 square feet to thrive. That is nearly 5 acres of land for one thunder lizard. To put it in jock terms, that is 4.5 football fields for one animal. So how well does Jurassic World do when it comes to giving its star attractions the appropriate amount of space? Well, we never actually see the full-sized pen for the T-Rex, but we do get to see it for his genetic mutant brother, the I-Rex. Correction, we kinda get to see it. You see, the movie can't really decide if the I-Rex paddock is a hexagon or an octagon. Maybe they should have spent less time focused on the height of the walls.
The wall's 40 feet high.
But okay, we can do some quick calculations to figure this thing out. First, based on this exterior shot of the paddock being reinforced, we can see that it's shockingly small. Actually, we just heard that the walls are 40 feet high, so by using pixel measurements, we can calculate that this side of the paddock is a little less than 100 feet long, and the whole thing is shaped like a regular octagon, so it's not gonna be that big. That seems absurdly small, so let's double check those numbers. At 35 minutes, 12 seconds into the movie, you can see that they're at a bend in the paddock, with the scratches on the adjacent wall. 30 seconds later, we see Owen enter the paddock with the claw marks directly across from the team. Since the overhead map shows us that the shape of the paddock is a regular octagon, that would mean that they're entering here and walking across to here.
So let's try with six-sided. Let's try eight-sided instead of six-sided to give them more of a benefit, right?
Once they get the call to evacuate, it takes my Pratty Pie 8 seconds to sprint towards the exit, only to then be cut off at the halfway point by the I-Rex. They turn around, running for their lives, sprinting at top speed, except apparently taking a bit more leisurely of a jog this time, since now it takes exactly 29 seconds for Owen to get to the door that he just ran away from 8 seconds prior. Man, it's almost as if between the Jurassic name, the inconsistent paddock shape, and now Chris Pratt's variable running speed, it's almost like the movie doesn't care if it gets the details right. Nah, that couldn't be it. Anyway, the top sprint speed for an average human is 16 miles per hour, though Chris Pratt, you'll never be average to me. Meaning that the total length they'd be running from entrance to exit is about 90 feet once you factor in the octagonal shape, getting cut off at the halfway point, etc, etc. Anyway, long story short, the shockingly small dimensions of the I-Rex paddock unbelievably check out. So with wall lengths of 100 feet, the area of the pen winds up being 48,284 square feet.
That might seem big, but we must recognize that is from our human scale. For the big animal, that is super small.
That is the size of one football field minus the end zones. It is 1/5 the recommended size for a creature that large. Even if you were to double the size of the paddock as it currently stands, you would still be at less than half of what this creature needs to be kept humanely. There's even an in-universe explanation for why this pen would be so incredibly tiny.
Asset containment insisted we build the walls up higher. It's bigger than expected.
So they adjusted the height of the walls to accommodate it being bigger, but they didn't actually adjust the size of the paddock. It's no wonder the Indominus Rex was scratching up the walls going crazy. It was living in the dino equivalent of a tiny house. And it's not just the size of the enclosure that matters, but also the design within that enclosure. Again, per the AZA manual, quote, careful consideration should be given to exhibit design, so that all areas meet the physical, social, behavioral, and psychological needs of the species. Animals should be displayed whenever possible in exhibits replicating their wild habitat, end quote. Basically, what it's saying is the best way to keep an animal happy in confinement is to trick it into believing it's not actually in confinement. Go figure. Big surprise. But yet again, Jurassic World fails to meet these absolutely basic standards.
Fail! Absolute fail!
The aquatic mosasaurus is kept in a huge deep tank that spectators watch from underground. There's only one problem with that though. Per historical record, the mosasaurus was actually more comfortable in shallower waters. Putting it in a deep water tank is the exact opposite of what this animal needs. But the oversight that really comes back to bite them, in a very literal sense, is with the raptors. You see, we always visualize dinosaurs roaming around in dense tropical forests, and for the most part, that's largely true. For example, the majority of all T-Rex fossils were found in North America, the most famous being in the Hell Creek Formation in the Wyoming-Montana area. Now, Montana might seem like a far cry from a tropical paradise, but remember, we're talking about billions of years ago. North America back then was thought to be fairly hot and humid during the Cretaceous period, so putting a dino theme park on a tropical island like Isla Nublar, which, according to the movies, is 120 miles west of Costa Rica with an average temperature of 75 degrees Fahrenheit and 80% humidity, well, it's a pretty darn good choice for the T-Rex. In fact, it's a good choice for most of the dinosaurs, except for the velociraptors. You see, raptor fossils were found closer to Mongolia. This area was much more dry and arid during the Cretaceous period. For the raptors to feel comfortable in a tropical environment like Isla Nublar, they would need to be placed in the equivalent of a zoo's desert exhibit. But looking at the raptor enclosures, Jurassic World has made 0 attempts at recreating their natural environments. Imagine putting a polar bear in a jungle. It would be completely crazy! Unless, of course, you were in some sort of tropical island post-death purgatory state.
It's a polar bear.
And yet, that's pretty much exactly what these so-called geniuses at Jurassic World are doing. So, how do you solve a problem like a raptor? Well,
how do you solve a problem like a raptor?
you train them. The AZA manual recommends using what's known as operant conditioning, where behaviors are encouraged
Operates
or
condition.
discouraged through rewards and punishments. For example, rats were put in a cage with 2 buttons, green and red. If rats pressed the green button, they got food, but if
Okay, so interesting. There's something called operational conditioning. The more you know.
they pressed the red one, they received a mild electric shock. Worst experiment for them ever. Through this type of positive and negative conditioning, the rats learned to only press the green button for food. Real-world zoo and aquarium employees use similar tactics to teach animals how to behave, reducing the potential for any sorts of conflict. And it would seem like this is exactly what Owen is doing with the raptors. Owen uses a clicker to control them. If the dinosaurs respond to Owen's click, they're rewarded with food, in essence training them through positive operant conditioning. Oh, Chris, you're such a clever girl. But apparently not clever enough. Sorry, Chris, I still stan you. Hashtag PratPat forever. But I'm telling you this because I don't want you to become a Dinos Monty Chris. Ugh, God, that was bad for even me. You see, you keep pushing the clicker.
You did know that this movie was made with a lot of CGI, right?
Push it repeatedly to get the raptor's attention. According to zoologists who actually use this technique, all you're gonna do is just confuse the animals. 1 click, 1 reward. If you want to get the animals to respond with special enthusiasm for an action, you should increase the rewards associated with a single click. Like giving it more food, you don't increase the number of clicks. More clicks only dilute the positive reinforcement you've already conditioned the animal for, which honestly is gonna explain why Owen's control over the raptors doesn't always work that well. Looks like someone needs to get better at clickbaiting.
Oh! Wow! That's good, actually. That's good. Get good at clickbaiting. That's funny, that's funny, that's
I gotta
funny.
say I'm proud of that one. Now, obviously, all this seems like a lot to fix. Train dinosaurs to respond to positive and
Dad jokes!
negative stimuli, increase their living space, and design each habitat for each dino's individual needs. But there's already a real-world counterpart that's done exactly these things. Well, without the dinosaurs, that is. The Kilimanjaro Safari at Disney's Animal Kingdom. It's actually kinda crazy the amount of work that went into this tour. Animals are set loose and allowed to quote-unquote roam free in open spaces designed for each species. But it's all a magic trick. It's all an illusion. Hidden moats and rock formations sprinkled throughout the park separate carnivorous animals from their potential prey, which includes humans, keeping the animals in check while still keeping them happy and on display. The rocks where the lions hang out, totally air condition. Seriously, there are air conditioning blowers built into these things, and if it gets cold, they have heaters built in too, which encourages the lions to hang out in plain view. To encourage the animals to be more active, Disney installed concrete feeders hidden as elements in the environment, like broken tree limbs and rocks. And as far as operant conditioning is concerned, at the end of every day, each animal has been specially trained to respond to different sounds. The crocodiles have a metal bar that's being hit underwater, elephants come in to the beat of a drum, giraffes listen for a cowbell, and a duck call is used for the gazelles. It's the perfect example for Jurassic World to follow. Isla Nublar is a whopping 30 square miles in size, so there is plenty of room. Owen gets good as a trainer, they add in some controlled climates, easy as that, no deaths, no lawsuits. Long story short, if you find yourself buying a zoo of any type, prehistoric or otherwise, just learn how the animals behave. It'll save a lot of lives. Or, I don't know, you could just sell the whole thing to Disney. But something tells me that Universal ain't gonna be doing that anytime soon. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And if you want more delicious dino action, well then check out my collaboration with one of my all-time favorite people on YouTube, Rosanna Pansino. In honor of the new Jurassic World, we got together to bake a dinosaur fossil cake. Not only did I have a blast nerding out with her over dino things, the cake is, and I cannot emphasize this enough, the single best chocolate cake that I have ever tasted. I mean, it's no thanks to me, I was literally no help at all. But seriously, and I'm not just saying this because I like Rosanna or anything, her crew literally had to stop me from eating this thing when the cameras were rolling. It was incredible. So if you're in the mood for some incredible desserts, or just me acting like an idiot in the kitchen, hammer the box to the left, or otherwise chomp down on my Jurassic World conspiracy theory video, the box to the right. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got to leave that Chris Pratt is at his favorite cafe right now. Mad Pat's coming for you, Chrissy!
Yeah! Well, thank you so much for watching this video. That was very cute and adorable to watch. Thank you so much. I hope that you find yourself enjoy watching this video together with me. If you do like this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and comment down below if you have anything to share about us. Don't forget to follow my channel, and sincerely appreciate all of the support and encouragement for my work. Thank you so much. It's very uplifting and motivating. Yeah, I hope that this video has been very educational, and I hope that you learned something new. Very knowledgeable and wide wisdom field. Thank you so much. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye bye! Thank you so much. Subscribe! Thank you. That was cute, that was cute. That was genuinely very cute. Can you sue a superhero? Ah, gosh. that? Hello everyone, it's me. One more time. Hello everyone, it's me. Lawyers. Hello everyone, it's me. Lawyers, lawsuits on fictional superheroes. Interesting. Hello everyone, it's me. Superhero. Hello everyone, it's me. Lawyers, lawsuits on fictional characters. Hello everyone, it's me. Lawyers, lawsuits on fictional superhero.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory!
Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory. Hello.
The anti-hero of your childhood, shooting down your favorite movie franchises and being a bigger tryhard than Syndrome himself. Today, much like Pixar, we're going back to The Incredibles, and in case you missed our last episode on them, make sure you check it out using the eye icon in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. I gotta say, it has one of my favorite titles on the channel. Which of The Incredibles is the most incredible? Disney Pixar's The Incredibles. Man, way to ride those search terms, Matt Pat. Anyway, it's an episode where we actually prove, based on physics, which Incredible is the most powerful. It's really fun. I'll link to it during the end screen so you can watch it after this one. But today, we're not calculating laser strength or Violet's power of teen angst. No, today we're laying down the law and testing out the Incredible superpowers where they really count: the American legal system. Now, wait, I see your eyes darting to the suggested video feed right now because you're totally like, ugh, American legalese, I need to G to the FO and watch more dank Star Wars memes. But you're gonna want to stick around for this one, because this theory literally changes the entire Incredibles movie based on what would actually happen if heroes like the Incredibles existed in the real world. And as a bonus, you'll be that know-it-all in the room with your friends when you're watching the sequel. So if you thought a real-world analysis of Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory completely changed your perspective of that childhood movie, well, get ready, because we're about to learn what the government is actually doing to kill off our real-world superheroes. First, we need a quick recap based on where The Incredibles started when it was released in the Paris Hilton plastered fever dream that was 2004. The movie starts by showing us a flashback to the golden years, when supers roamed the streets stopping crime with reckless abandon. But all of that comes to a screeching halt when one man jumps off a building. Mr. Incredible, being the hero that he is, stops the suicide attempt, but the man suffers a neck injury in the process. This leads to a lawsuit and a wave of legal action against supers, holding them accountable for all the property damage and injuries that happen as a result of their battles with villains. The ripple effect from this lawsuit makes the government realize that supers are a huge liability. Anti-super sentiment reaches an all-time high, and the government actively decides that they're better off with supers working in cubicles rather than fighting crime. But is this actually the way that it would play out? Legally, could you just kill off superheroes by suing them out of existence? If you think about it, almost every superhero franchise from the last 10 years has tackled this in some way or another. From the mutant phobias of X-Men to the collateral damage that kicks off Batman's quest against Superman, or even the Sokovia Accords from Marvel's Avengers. So honestly, it's time to put this issue to bed, to see just how supers stack up against their greatest nemesis of all, the American justice system. The first big red flag in this situation is the Good Samaritan law, a law in the US specifically designed to protect people who are trying to save another person who's injured or whose life's in danger. Basically, the law says that if you're trying to help, you can't be sued later on.
So there's something called the Good Samaritan. The more you know.
If you've ever taken a CPR class, one of the scenarios that they always give you is that you just come across someone who's unconscious, and you have to save them without knowing anything about them, or even whether they need saving. With Good Samaritan laws, you know that as long as you're honestly trying to help someone in danger, you don't have to worry about injuries that you might cause them, like bruising their ribs when giving them CPR, or mistaking someone who's unconscious because they're injured for someone who's just sleeping off last night's bachelor party face down in the street. Good Samaritan laws are based on the idea that when someone potentially only has seconds to live, the last thing you want is for a bystander to hesitate or not help because it might get them in trouble. And there are plenty of examples where not having these laws in place is really tragic. In one of the most famous examples from China back in 2006, a man named Peng Yu encountered a woman who'd fallen and broken a bone in her leg. He helped her to the hospital, but then she blamed him for her injury and then sued him. The court even ruled in her favor, leading to the infamous Peng Yu verdict where an innocent man ended up punished for his own good deed. The outcome of this case sent a very clear message to other citizens in China: don't help people who are in trouble. One of the scariest ways that this played out was in 2011, when a toddler was the victim of a hit and run. A tape of the incident showed that 18 people walked past and none stopped to help. The girl died in a hospital 8 days later. A survey of Chinese people at the time found that 71% of people thought that the people who passed by were doing so because they were afraid of getting into trouble if anyone stopped to help. So it seems like this whole opening premise of The Incredibles would just fall apart, since Mr. Incredible would be protected by Good Samaritan laws and saving people. But there are a couple wrinkles here that might complicate things a bit. First, what about saving someone from themselves? I mean, if you saw me choking in the middle of a restaurant, you can guess that I probably want to finish that bowl of crispy wontons I'm chowing down on, and would be pretty grateful if you swooped in to save my life with the Heimlich maneuver. But in the movie, the person who jumps off the building specifically intended to die.
Mr. Sansweet didn't ask to be saved. Mr. Sansweet didn't want to be saved. You didn't save my life, you ruined my death.
So what happens now? Well, legally, you're still in the right to save them. According to a decision by the Supreme Court of Minnesota, quote, there can be no doubt that a bona fide attempt to prevent a suicide is not a crime in any jurisdiction, end quote. And this totally makes sense, especially the more we as a society understand that suicide attempts often stem from mental illness that are out of people's control, meaning that with appropriate help, this person may not have wanted to make such a final decision. Because suicide is something you can never take back, it always makes sense to err on the side of saving someone's life. This means if you restrain someone,
Give them a second chance. If they do not want a second chance, you give them. When there's life, there's hope.
in a room when they announce that they're gonna jump off a building, you aren't guilty of kidnapping. And if you tackle them in the air to stop them from jumping off a bridge, you're not guilty of assault. In short, there is no way that anyone trying to prevent a suicide attempt could get sued into hiding, including superheroes. So those of you who secretly have gills and can breathe underwater, or who have some incredible supersonic farting ability, don't let this movie scare you away from saving us all. If anything, let your crippling embarrassment of your awkward superpower keep you in hiding, fart boy. But wait, we're still missing one huge piece here. Play that clip again.
Incredibles court losses cost the government millions.
In the movie, there's another crucial distinction. The apartment jumper sues the government, not the super as an individual. And this last twist is where things get really interesting. In the movie, we're told that the supers receive amnesty for their past actions as part of their agreement to go into hiding.
The government quietly initiated the Superhero Relocation Program. The supers would be granted amnesty from responsibility for past actions in exchange for the promise to never again resume hero work.
But in reality, supers aren't liable in the first place. See, the supers program is a government program and falls under a doctrine in the United States known as qualified immunity, which protects states and private officials from getting sued except in specific cases like discrimination or when they use unnecessary force. It's clear from the moments we see the supers working with police that they're a kind of special branch of law enforcement, kind of like the FBI, and they're acting under similar principles as the police, prioritizing civilian safety, taking every available action to prevent casualties, and so on. So when the jumper sues the supers, he's basically suing a government agency or a branch of law enforcement, which then begs the question, can you even do that? In our modern society, we pretty much take it for granted that you can sue anyone, but for most of US history, you couldn't sue the government at all. Seems fishy, right? Especially given that the government gets involved in some kind kinda questionable situations from time to time. Everything from the bizarro conspiracies of MK Ultra to the very up-to-the-moment protests around police discrimination. The law that protects governments from suits is called sovereign immunity, and quite frankly sounds like something you'd hear coming from King George during the musical Hamilton. It basically says that a sovereign state cannot commit a legal wrong and has immunity both for civil lawsuits and criminal prosecution. If that seems like the government's a little OP for you, well, most of the US agreed and decided back in 1946 to pass the Federal Tort Claims Act, which...
Alright, a fun fact. Do you know what is the meaning of OP? OP, you can understand it as overpowered. It means too powerful.
made it possible to sue the government for damages, negligence, and other governmental wrongdoings. That doesn't mean that actually pulling off a lawsuit against the government isn't incredibly difficult. No pun intended. Maybe pun kind of intended. Even in situations we see every day, like a car that gets damaged by police in a high-speed chase, or a window that gets broken in a police shootout, taking the government to task, or more specifically, taking the government to court because of the collateral damage is still super difficult and costly as a regular citizen or small business.
Shame.
In reality, suing a super for trying to save someone's life, even if they destroyed private property along the way, would be almost impossible. So there you go. Based on the laws that exist, it seems like this is a pretty open and shut case. You can't be sued for trying to help someone, even in the case of suicide. Government officials all have qualified immunity, and it would be pretty much impossible to show that supers are violating the few laws that they can be sued over. In short, you can't sue supers into hiding if the case is brought to court today. But remember, this case didn't happen today. It happened during a flashback at the beginning of the movie. A flashback that takes place in 1947. You see, here's the thing, friends. Laws evolve over time. It turns out a lot of the things I've mentioned in this video are actually recent developments. Good Samaritan laws vary by state, with some of the current Good Samaritan laws being enacted as recently as 1996. The Minnesota Supreme Court case that made it okay to save someone trying to commit suicide, that was passed in 1975. And qualified immunity doctrine, 1971. None of the laws that I talked about today were on the books back in 1947, which is when the lawsuit against Mr. Incredible takes place. But wait, I hear you incredibly observant commenter writing right now. Earlier you mentioned that court laws, the ones that let people sue the government, passed in 1946. And yeah, this is totally true. In what I think is an incredibly smart move on Pixar's part, The Incredibles is set just 1 year after the tort laws that allow everyone to sue the government, but before all the laws that went in to protect the supers. I mean, I love this movie already, but the way this situation works out is so much smarter than any of us could have ever realized. The original lawsuit against Mr. Incredible happens in 1947. As soon as us lawsuit-happy private citizens can start suing the federal government, and his suit serves as the first high-profile case of private citizens suing the government for damages. At this point, the government is totally unprepared for a suit like this, which may be happening in an area without enforceable Good Samaritan laws to an agency that isn't protected by qualified immunity. The suit starts the ripple effect the movie directly points to, and the government, without any insurance against lawsuits like this, sees how much the supers program could end up costing them. Their knee-jerk reaction is to shut down the program, which never reopens even after the protecting laws go in place decades later. Clearly, this timeline isn't an accident on the part of Pixar, which completely blows my mind based on how thoughtful and detailed it is. It also goes to show how we take laws as being so ironclad in life, but they change so much that what we define as a crime now may not be a crime at all in 50 or even 20 years. I am definitely not saying you should go out and rob your nearest 7-Eleven in the hopes that by the time your case hits the courtroom that theft is no longer a crime, but it is a pretty cool reminder to look at the rules around you and think a bit more critically about whether they should actually be firm rules. And hey, the best news of all, now that we have some decent laws in place, we can revive the Supers program. I think I qualify. MatPat, superpower, mind-blowing theories, and the ability to land himself on every conceivable watch list because he just taught everyone that they can sue the government. That's not a good superpower. In the meantime, remember, that's just a theory. A film theory. And you know, it must be nice to be an Incredible with your own set of special abilities that you can use to show off and impress your friends and family. Wait a minute, maybe you don't have to be a superhero to impress your mom at all. Maybe all you need is the power power of Skillshare, our partner for today's episode. An online learning community with thousands of classes ranging from design, business, game design, technology, and more. Let's take a look. Being an Incredible gives you special abilities. Well, so does Skillshare. It has literally thousands of classes online that'll teach you about anything from how to animate your own superhero movie to how to start your own business. Being an Incredible means that you get to wear a cool outfit, but Skillshare actually teaches you how to make your own cool outfits. Eat your heart out, Edna Mode. And lastly, being an Incredible makes you super famous. Okay, so Skillshare doesn't make you super famous, but the first step in whatever great things you're gonna do in your future, start with the knowledge to get there. So check out Skillshare and start honing your incredible skills right now. The first 1,000 people who sign up using the link in the description get the first 2 months of Skillshare Premium for free. Premium membership gives you unlimited access to high-quality classes on must-know topics, so you can improve your skills, unlock those new opportunities, and start doing the work that you love. But you have to act now. If you've ever done any of these limited quantity giveaways here on the channel, you'll know that within hours of this video going live, those free passes are gone. So take advantage of this opportunity, click the link in the description below, or just type it into your URL bar, skill.ch/film theory. But hey, if you miss out on those 1,000 free passes, look on the bright side. Skillshare is more affordable than most other learning platforms out there. An annual subscription is less than $10 a month. And for that low price, you get yourself unlimited amounts of learning for an entire year. That's awesome! And is sure a heck of a lot more affordable and practical than college. As for me, well, up, and away! Hit my head on the ceiling.
It's on the ceiling. Alright, this is one part of the video in which I really...
It is the power of skill. Supers program. Even 20, 50, clearly this timeline isn't an accident on the part of Pixar, which completely blows my mind based on how thoughtful and detailed it is. It also goes to show how we take laws as being so ironclad in life, but they change so much that what we define as a crime now may not be a crime at all in 50 or even 20 years. I am definitely not saying you should go out and rob your nearest 7-Eleven in the hopes that by the time your case hits the courtroom that theft is no longer a crime, but it is a pretty cool reminder to look at the rules around you and think a bit more critically about whether they should actually be firm rules.
True. Think a bit more critically if they need to be so firm, so strict rules. That's interesting. Well, thank you so much for watching this video together with me. I know this video I've been very silent in this video because a lot of things that really critical. Yeah. Anyways, if you do like this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and comment down below if you have any share with us. Don't forget to follow my channel, and sincerely appreciate all of the support and encouragement for my work. Touch my heart. Genuinely, truly, honestly, thankful for your appreciation and your support for my work. Thank you so much. And I hope to see you all in my next video. But hey, that's just a theory, a film theory, and cut. Thank you. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye bye. Thank you so much. Please remember to subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Really thought-provoking. Really a lot of interesting things to think about. A lot of things to think about. Oh, this is anime, right? Anime.
Oh man, I can't wait for the new episode of my... Oh man!
10 minutes only. It's good that it's only 10 minutes.
Man, I can't wait for the new episode of My Hero. Man, I can't wait for the new episode of My Hero.
then sometimes the rest. The video is very thought-provoking. Right, let's start. Hello everyone, it's me, Anime! My Hero Academia! How to become super! Oh, what happened? Gosh, what
Man, I can't wait for the new episode of...
Hello everyone, it's me, Anime! My Hero Academia! My Hero Academia. Sorry, one more time. Hello everyone, it's me, Anime! My Hero Academia! How to become a Superman, Superwoman, superhero, super...
Oh man, I can't wait for the new episode of My Hero!
The UA Sports Festival.
I'm sorry, Izuku.
Deku, you bastard!
Young man, you too can become a hero.
1
Oh.
week later.
Oh man, I can't wait for this new episode of My Hero Academia!
Internships.
Sorry, Izuku.
You bastard!
You too can become a hero.
You too can become a hero.
1
Yes, I can't wait for this new episode of My Hero Academia!
Stain.
Izuku.
Bastard!
Become a hero.
Is it just me, or am I starting to notice a pattern here?
Deja vu! Boku no Hero!
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory!
Hello Internet! Welcome to Film Theory! Hello!
The show that always sweats the small stuff. Speaking of sweat, you know what I hate? Katsuki Bakugo, the sandy-haired, hyper-aggressive bully from My Hero Academia. I know, I get it. He's learning to accept others and blah 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 blah, but seriously, dude, get over yourself.
I don't need any of your protection, damn it!
It's one thing to be stubborn and cocky, but geez, dial it back once in a while.
I just want to say, I'm gonna win.
But even I have
My job!
to admit that, despite his obnoxious personality, he has got himself one heck of a fascinating superpower. While quirks in the Hero Academia universe can range from godlike to totally useless, when Bakugo spun the wheel, he definitely landed closer to the godly end of the scale. If you don't know the show, let me tell ya, he's got himself the power to produce massive explosions. But the way that he activates that power, like Bakugo himself, is, less than pleasant.
Think about it, it's just an awesome skill to have in the anime, not in real life of course. In real life it would cause a lot of trouble, but in the anime it's quite awesome, isn't it? Like just like the song from Konosuba. Bakuletsu, bakuletsu, la la la. Bakuletsu, bakuletsu, la la la. Explosion!
You see, Bakugo's quirk isn't just making things magically explode. He's no Yoshikage Kira.
To be continued!
Instead, Bakugo's explosions are a byproduct of his actual quirk, which is that he sweats nitroglycerin. Or to be more specific, a substance very similar to nitroglycerin which he can detonate at will.
Since you're such a stalker, by now you probably know how my quirk explosion works. I secrete nitroglycerin like sweat from my hands and make it blow up.
Essentially, the sweatier he gets, the bigger his explosions are. And over the course of the series, we've seen Bakugo make some pretty pretty darn big, earth-shattering kabooms, even without his special grenade gloves that store up his, fluids to create bigger blasts. So of course, all this raises the obvious question. How much would Bakugo have to sweat to create blasts as big and powerful as he does? Well, you ought to know by now that that's the exact sort of insane question that I answer on this channel. So
wait a minute. Why do we even have this kind of question in the first place? That's very weird. Don't you think so?
roll on some Old Spice and make sure that you're wearing an undershirt.
It's a gland problem.
Since today we're literally working up a sweat to prove how hot under the collar this anime character gets. And spoiler alert, he's producing more sweat daily than the gaming room at your local anime convention.
Wow.
Oh yeah. It's that bad. To begin, we're told that Bakugo's sweat is basically identical to nitroglycerin, and since science knows a lot about how much nitroglycerin expands when it explodes, by measuring a given explosion from the anime, we can work out pretty easily exactly how sweaty Bakugo would have to get to produce it. Now, one thing I'm not gonna do is look at what Bakugo can do in his hero costume, since those grenade gauntlets of his are designed to store his sweat over time, thus making their explosive power more based on how long he's been wearing them, as opposed to how much he's actually sweating. That said, the newest season of the anime has given us a great benchmark. In Season 3, Episode 3, we're given a quirk training montage where each character is trying to push their quirks to the limit in order to expand their powers. We're expressly told that Bakugo is
plunging his hands into boiling water to expand his sweat glands, then creating chain explosions to increase the scale of his banging attacks.
So, not only are these visually the largest fireballs that he produces in the series, we also know that Bakugo is intentionally pushing himself to his limits here to unleash his full strength, both in terms of explosion size as well as how fast he's making those explosions happen. At first, I thought I could just measure the blast using Bakugo himself as the measuring stick, since he's right there and we know that his cannon height is exactly 172 centimeters based on the character stat cards that pop up between commercial breaks.
Using him as a ruler.
However, I wanted to be as precise as possible, which, when it comes to Bakugo, is a bit of an issue. He has that Super Saiyan perm thing going on that makes it hard to figure out how exactly his height's being measured, and he almost never stands up straight. Lucky for us though, Bakugo is not the only measuring stick that we have at our disposal here. He's standing next to an oil drum, the exact same kind of oil drum that his fellow classmate Todoroki is using for his training. And with his good posture and flat haircut, this icy hot honor student makes for a much better measuring stick. We know that from heel to head, Todoroki stands at 176 centimeters tall. That means, using his height in this manga profile picture as a baseline, we can determine his pupillary distance, or the distance between the centers of the pupils of his eyes, a measurement that's often taken by optometrists during eye appointments. On average, male pupillary distances are between 5.3 centimeters and 7.7 centimeters, and Todoroki's pupils are exactly 7.62 centimeters apart, so it falls right in that range. This measurement can then be translated over to the training montage to measure the barrel from side to side in this shot, which gives us a barrel diameter of 79.88 centimeters. Finally, we can apply those barrel measurements to the one standing next to Bakugo to measure the diameter of the fireball. And here's where we run into one other snag. You see, we're never actually shown the full scale of the fireball that Bakugo creates, despite it being a distant shot that we can clearly tell goes above the tree line. So we're just gonna have to settle for measuring the part of the fireball that we can actually see in this flat-on shot.
So unfortunately, we have to estimate, approximate around there. Yeah, sorry.
But trust me, even that is more than enough. If we cut a chunk off the fireball starting at the widest point before it goes past the edge of the screen, we get a dome that's 2,545 centimeters across by 716 centimeters tall. Plugging those numbers into this formula, which measures the volumes of spherical caps, gives us a total volume of 2,428.2 cubic meters, or 2,428,207 liters of exploding gas. That certainly sounds like a lot, but to truly understand what that means, let's dig a little deeper. Doing a little research, we know that when it explodes, nitroglycerin expands to a little over 1,200 times the volume of its original liquid form. So all we have to do is divide the volume of the explosion by 1,200 to see just how much sweat Bakugo would need to produce it, leaving us with a final grand total of a whopping 2,023.5 liters of sweat. To put that in perspective, an average human produces produces between 0.8 and 1.4 liters of sweat during an hour of exercise.
Wow.
Or for a fairer point of comparison, since Bakugo's using hot water to open up his sweat glands, an average person produces just 1 liter of sweat after 15 minutes in a steam room. Bakugo is sweating at least 2,000 times that amount in the 5 seconds between explosions in this scene.
Is that healthy or is that lethal? I'm worried. It's a genuine concern.
Remember, that's just part of the fireball. The whole thing is 3 to 4 times the size of what we can actually measure, which means that Bakugo is probably producing closer to 6,000 liters of sweat in 5 seconds from just the palms of his hands. That's about 150 times the total volume of liquid contained in the average human body. And if a real person were truly sweating that much liquid, they'd shrivel up and die like a prune in a fraction of a second. But let's just ignore that problem for a moment and assume that Bakugo's quirk somehow compensates for this rapid fluid loss by other means, the same way it prevents his explosions from blowing his hands off. I mean, after all, this is a universe where a guy's whole body can be made out of teleporting mist, or a guy's face can be made out of flame.
Well, you did know there's something called quirks, right? So maybe his quirks have a special hidden ability. You know, anime stuff.
Or a guy can have teeth that turn into magically long blades. So who's to say what is and isn't possible with these darn quirks? Assuming that he wouldn't die from it in terms of liters per second, Bakugo is sweating over 1,000,000 times faster than the average human being. Let that sink in for a minute. He is sweating 1,000,000 times faster than you. If you were to stand with that barrel in an Olympic swimming pool, he would be able to fill the entire thing with his sweat in 34 minutes and 43 seconds. Every 30 minutes, he's sweating the amount of an Olympic swimming pool. Ugh, gross.
Hey! Sweating is the act of a healthy body.
Of course, Bakugo isn't going to spend all day in sauna conditions, but even at regular temperatures, he'd be sweating buckets on a daily basis. Literally sweating buckets. On an average day, a regular person will produce between 500 and 700 milliliters of sweat. At 1,000,000 times that rate, Bakugo would be sweating between 5 and 700,000 liters every single day, which, let's be honest, would probably mean he'd need to drink a little bit more than 8 glasses of water per day to stay hydrated. And it would definitely mean that I wouldn't want to sit anywhere near him in class or on a bus. Clearly, Bakugo is going in the completely wrong direction when he chose his hero name.
King Explosion Murder.
I'm gonna say that one's a little too violent.
爆杀王.
Nah, forget all that. With palms as sweaty as yours, buddy, you're better off calling yourself the Swamp Thing. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut.
Wow, that's interesting. Him in the middle of nothing. Well, anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you find this video very interesting to watch, and yeah, it's quite unique and special. Quite weird though, but yeah, if you do like this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, comment down below if you like us. Don't forget to follow my channel, and yeah, one more time. Really like this explosion by the way at the back. The small explosion at the back. It's very unique. And again is like, share and subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you have anything to share with us. Don't forget to follow my channel, and I sincerely appreciate all of your support and encouragement for my work. Thank you so much. It's very uplifting and motivating. From the bottom of my heart, I'm really grateful and appreciative of all your support and encouragement. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you all in my next video. But hey, that's just a theory, a film theory, and cut. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye bye! Boku no Hero! Thank you so much. This is what? Ants meant. it's me, Marvels. Hey, giants! Hello everyone, it's me, Marvels Ant-Man. Let's learn about his giant problems together. Bangkok. 你睇下是 ego 而家有冇
Big
出到
ego? I'll show you a big ego. I kind of walked right into that one, didn't I? And a taco truck. Damn, what a waste of tacos. Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory.
Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory. Hello.
Show that puts out new episodes only slightly more often than Marvel puts out new superhero movies. I mean, seriously, it feels like Infinity War just happened, but it's already time to put that one behind us to focus on a story with some smaller stakes. You might have noticed that Scott Lang, aka the Ant-Man, was absent from the latest Avengers movie. And that's not a case of him being tucked away in some microscopic hiding place, believe me. I checked.
He is stuck in that.
Every promotional poster out there. And I found some weird things by doing that too, like this and this. Ooh, there's a hidden Mickey. That Illuminati symbol wasn't all that surprising considering it's Disney, but yeah, no Ant-Man as far as the eye could see. All we hear in the movie is that he and Hawkeye, quote, took a deal since being a hero was too hard on their families. Aw, being a superhero is hard, is it? Boo-hoo. Now half the universe is dead. Not like that's gonna be a lot easier on the fam. Anyway, in case you've forgotten, Ant-Man has the ability to shrink down to ant size using what's known as Pym particles. The marvelous, get it? Miracle matter.
Oh, I get it. Marvelous.
That can mess with the size, mass, and density of any substance. We most often see him using the power of the Pym particle to shrink himself down to the size of an ant. However, one of the most memorable Ant-Man scenes from the MCU has to be him doing the reverse. In Captain American, the Korean ripoff version of Captain America. In Captain America Civil War, he blows himself up to massive size, becoming the most powerful hero on the battlefield, throwing trucks around, taking missiles to the chest, basically turning unstoppable until Spider-Man decides to take a page from Luke Skywalker's playbook and ties up his legs to trip him like an at that forgot how to walk.
You know that part? Where they're on the snow planet? With the walking thingy!
Oh, you know when it's old, when even the younger, you know when you are old, when even the younger generations doesn't know what the walking thing is.
Calling BS here, by the way. It is the most unbelievable part of the movie. Perhaps the most unbelievable part of the MCU. Peter Parker clearly would know what all of those things are named.
No, unless he's way too young to recognize
Anyway,
them.
it makes you wonder, why doesn't Ant-Man use this power more often?
Do it all the time.
Really? Because this is the first time we've ever seen him do it in the movie.
What? In a lab.
Alright, so at first this might seem like a lazy cop-out by the writers, but when you look at the real-life science, it actually makes sense. Being big doesn't just take a fictional subatomic Pym particle. A power like this is gonna have some weird side effects to Scott's body. As it turns out, there's an extreme cost for being big, and that's the lesson for today. How being bigger isn't always being better. And considering it's a power he's gonna be using again in his second movie, Ant-Man and the Wasp, learning the oddities that come with being big is gonna be essential so that he doesn't end every fight hangry.
Does anyone have any orange slices?
Have you ever stopped to wonder why an
Oh, fun fact, he have orange slices in Endgame.
Elephant is less agile than a mouse? I mean, sure, we all intuitively know that big things tend to move slower, but why? You might say that it's because they weigh more, and yeah, that's certainly true, but consider this. If you took a mouse and blew it up, wouldn't it retain the same abilities that allow it to scamper around? Or by the same token, if you take Scott Lang, an athletic superhero, and do the equivalent of dropping him into Photoshop to stretch the corner of his transform box, wouldn't he just have the same abilities but bigger and stronger than before? War, he's still the same proportions after all. I mean, sure, he may be gaining more mass, but at the same time, his muscles are also growing and gaining strength, including all of those fast twitch muscle fibers that humans use when they sprint. So
no, there's something called the square cube law. Yeah.
Why is it so much harder for Mega Scott to perform basic actions when he's big in these fight scenes? Well, believe it or not, but the answer is actually a universal law of mathematics that applies to all matter in the universe. Man! Between this and the last Ant-Man theory about how he would be able to create black holes, Ant-Man seems to be the key to unlocking the secrets of existence. Maybe that's why he's not in Infinity War. He's too OP! This secret universal law is known as the square cube law.
I knew it! I knew it! It's a square cube law! Awesome!
All the way back to Galileo in 1638. Yeah, the same Galileo who discovered Saturn's rings, the moons of Jupiter, and taught the world that planets orbit around the sun. Meanwhile, here I am rewatching Civil War's airport scene covered in Cheeto dust. Galileo, making the rest of the world feel like a slacker since 1640. Anyway, teaching people that they weren't the center of the universe didn't make him very popular with the Roman Inquisition, or Twitter, quite frankly, resulting in him getting put under house arrest. And since he didn't have access to Candy Crush or Cutthroat Kitchen reruns, it gave him a whole lot of time to do math. Math that led to yet another discovery that makes us all feel like underachievers. The square cube law, aka exactly what we need to analyze Ant-Man. The easiest way to explain the law is this. Imagine a tesseract that's 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch.
Technically we're talking about a cube, but I mean tesseract through tesseract though. But I said Tesseract though since it was a Marvel Team Cube. Now I realize it's probably confusing. My bad, I just tried to make this more fun. Understandable.
It has a surface area of 6 square inches. Because each face has an area of 1 square inch and there are 6 faces. The volume is 1 times 1 times 1 or 1 cubic inch. Great, if only AP Calc exams were this easy. Now suppose that we double each dimension of the tesseract, making it 2 by 2 by 2. Surface area is now 24 square inches and volume is now 8 cubic inches. Our surface area increased by a factor of 4, but the volume increased by a factor of 8. Now look at this. We doubled the size of the tesseract, right? Meaning that we multiplied everything by 2, but the surface area increased by 2 squared, or 4, and the volume increased by 2 cubed, or 8. If we had tripled the size of everything from our 1 by 1 by 1 tesseract, surface area would now be 54 and volume 27. Surface area would have increased by a factor of 9, or 3 squared, and volume by a factor of 27, or 3 cubed. In other words, by increasing the dimension by a given factor, the surface area will increase by the square of that factor, and the volume will increase by the cube of that factor.
I really like it that he just mentioned the N.
That is the square cube law in a nutshell.
Ta-da!
Congratulations, you made it through all the math for today's episode. Here's a chocolate, and an achievement, and 1,000 points added to your Theorist score. Make sure you keep that one in a safe place. Now then, what's the significance of all those darn tesseracts to Ant-Man and his gigantism?
Okay, that is very big. Big. Let's keep this family-friendly and wholesome. Thank you so much.
Well, as Ant-Man grows, other properties are going to change as well. Specifically, his mass is going to increase in the same way that his volume does. It'll be the cube of whatever factor he increases by. So if he scales up by 5, his mass is multiplied by 5 cubed, or 125 times. And that's cool and all, but there's a big problem here. Strength only scales with area. When you want to figure out how strong a bone is, you don't look at how long it is, or how much volume it has. You only care about how thick it is. You care about its cross-sectional area. The same applies to muscle strength. So at 5 times the size and 125 times the weight, Ant-Man's strength is only going to multiply by 25. The TLDR of all this, when you make something bigger, you're not actually making it stronger by the same amount. The more you scale something up, it becomes relatively less and less strong. For an example of this in nature, just look at deer. White-tailed deer are 150 pounds, while elk are 600 100 pounds. Just by looking at him, you can tell that the elk's legs are much thicker than the lighter white-tailed deer legs. This is because an elk's bones and muscles need to be much thicker to support the extra weight. But even in spite of all that extra girth, elk are still more likely to break their bones. The long story short here is supporting additional mass is hard. It is biologically very difficult.
Choose your difficulty. Easy, normal, very difficult. Hurt me plenty. Nightmare.
It requires a lot of extra internal infrastructure in your body. Infrastructure that humans, and Ant-Man specifically, just aren't built for. So let's take one more look at Ant-Man. If we figure out the factor of increase for Ant-Man's size, we can quickly assess how that would affect his mass and strength. Now, in the trailers for the new movie, we hear him bragging about how big he's able to get.
How big did you get?
21 feet. You?
65 feet.
Oh! They're just comparing sizes. Yep, they're comparing sizes.
65.
The actor who plays Ant-Man, Paul Rudd, is reportedly 5 foot 10 inches, meaning that Ant-Man has to be able to scale up to a maximum of 11 times his normal body size. Now, remember the square cube law. His mass and volume will increase by a cube of that factor of increase, so his resulting mass is going to increase by a factor of 11 times 11 times 11, or 1,331. Websites say that Rudd weighs in at about 171 pounds or 78 kilos, so in giant form, he's actually going to be weighing in at a modest 227,601 pounds.
And 2021 sexiest man alive. Oh my god, I just noticed these episodes have become very that sort of topic.
Or 103,818 kilograms. That's the same as 15 elephants.
Wow.
Or about 1 space shuttle. However, the cross-sectional area of his muscles and bones will only increase by the square of 11, or 121. Getting over 100 times stronger might seem like a lot, but it means almost nothing when you consider that he's over 1,000 times heavier than he was. Which explains why Ant-Man, who's normally an agile superhero capable of all kinds of acrobatic feats, is reduced to a slow-moving behemoth in Civil War. Honestly, considering how much additional weight his legs are carrying, it's a wonder that he's even able to be standing at all. Which begs the question, or for all of you on Reddit who are bothered by that idiomatic usage of the phrase,
hello Reddit, hello Reddit, hello Reddit.
Raises the question, could he actually stand? Well, it took a bit of digging, but I found out. Bones are much better at handling compressive forces than shear forces.
Especially our bones is made out of especially when the human bones are mostly made of calcium. So, unless our bones are made of like what, vibranium material? Probably not.
This is because bones are made up of columns of collagen and calcium phosphate, like bundles of twigs. And because they run vertically through the bone, they give the bone strength through its length. To show you just how big of a difference all this makes, it takes about 4,000 newtons of force to fracture your femur when you hit it this way, a shear direction, but 50,000 newtons of force when you apply the force this way, a compressive force. Over 10 times more force required. That's according to the E-Study Guide for Physics, by the way. It was a hard number to find. Anyway, at normal human size, it would mean that Scott Lang would need to weigh over 11,240 pounds to break his legs. No big worries there, or for the rest of humanity, no matter how many cheeseburgers we eat. But then, like Mario Jumpman on his shrooms, we gigantify it. His leg strength scales by 121, meaning that he can now support around 1,360,040 pounds on his legs. And considering he weighs in at just under 230 pounds when he's in large scale, he is well in the clear. Someone get that man an orange slice. He deserves it. But what's coolest about all of this is that while yes, it explains why he has to be slow and careful in his mega form, it also explains how he's so incredibly powerful in his micro form. Because you see, all of this also works in reverse. If increasing your size increases the ratio of mass to strength, then decreasing your muscle mass should have the opposite effect. More strength relative to your size. According to the Marvel website, Ant-Man can shrink himself down to half an inch. That's him scaling himself down 142 times, which means that his bone and muscle cross-section will be shrunk down by 142 squared, but his volume and mass will be shrunk down by 142 cubed. That means that when Ant-Man is half an inch tall, his strength ratio increases by a factor of 142. That's the equivalent of a 6-foot man feeling like they only weigh 1.4 pounds. Imagine what kind of athletic feats your body would be capable of if you gained that factor of strength. You could lift things that were way bigger than you. In fact, that's exactly what we observe in the animal kingdom. Ants are capable of lifting objects that are hundreds of times their own weight, while elephants are only capable of lifting objects that are around 1/10 of their weight. True, in absolute terms, the elephant might be capable of lifting bigger objects, but proportionally, the ant seems so much stronger.
I agree with you. The proportional ratio matters sometimes.
And that's a big part of where Ant-Man's powers come from. For example, he has the ability to change size at will while maintaining his momentum, meaning he starts an incredible sprint while small, then blows himself up to deliver a devastating punch. We always hear the phrase that bigger is better, but as we saw in Civil War, being big has its costs. While Ant-Man's gigantic form might be one of the most visually impressive things we see him do in the movies, his real strength lies not in his ability to grow, but his ability to shrink. Scott Lang proves that it's not the size of your superhero, but rather the size of their power ratio.
Yes, it's not how big it is, it's how you use it. Wait, did this just become a... Okay, let's keep this family friendly and wholesome.
If you two are finished comparing sizes...
65.
Well, the science proves it at least. Scott still seems really proud of that 65-footer. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And if you missed my last Ant-Man theory on why he's technically the most devastating character in the Marvel MCU, it's right here. Click the button to your left. Or make sure you give that subscribe button a big ol' smack so you can be updated about what crazy theories we have coming up next. Like, have you ever wondered what the optimum strategy is for winning the Purge? Oh yeah, there's a right answer for solving the Purge. One that you're gonna find out next week. But only if you hit the subscribe button. Hurry! You only have 5 seconds left in this video to do it.
Thank you so
5,
much.
4, 3. Don't get left in the Purge.
Thank you so much for being so supportive and encouraging. Your positivity is just awesome. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you all next time. Well, let's do an outro. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you do like this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and comment down below if you have any channel pass. Don't forget to follow my channel, and I sincerely appreciate all of the support and encouragement for my work. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you all in my next video. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory, and cut. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Thank you so much. Do remember to subscribe, and I hope to see you. Bye bye. Subscribe. The sound of the wind. The sound of the wind is a bit... No! Wow, the wind.
Buddy, I love you, but after all the... Buddy, I love you, but after all these movies and all that effort to get those Infinity Stones, you're... Buddy, I love you, but after all these movies and all that effort to get those Infinity Stones, your big triumphant moment where you vaporize half the universe finally comes...
Hello everyone, it's me. Let's go. 3 more videos. Probably like what? Going 2 hours plus 3 hours. By the time it's like 5 PM already. Let's go. I am inevitable. Hi everyone. One more time. I am inevitable. Hi everyone, it's me. And today, Avengers Thanos. He was unable to.
Thanos, buddy, I love you, but after all these movies and all that effort to get those Infinity Stones, your big triumphant moment where you vaporize half the universe finally comes around and you choose to snap? Snap! I mean, come on, we're not all Picasso here, but it's just uninspired. Think of all the other things you could have done. The Thanos clap, the Thanos punch the sky, the Thanos dab, a little dated, but still relevant with the youngsters, the Thanos shadow puppet, the Thanos American Sign Language. It would be great for building awareness of other forms of communication. No? None of those? Well, that's just uncalled for. No one asked for the Thanos middle finger salute. Well, now you're just being childish.
Oh. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory!
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory! Hello!
The show that makes being a know-it-all about all your favorite franchises a snap. Now that we've all had time to sit back and reflect on the glory that was Avengers Infinity War, I wanted to bring up something that's been bugging me about it. Don't get me wrong, I love this movie. It was basically the Marvel Cinematic Universe meets Survivor All-Stars. I mean, I'm sitting there in the theater
Cleans, Tony.
seeing how many of my favorite Marvel characters are in this thing, and I can't tell where my own gleeful drool ends and the fake butter flavoring on my popcorn begins. Yet, in spite of all of that, there's one part of this movie that I found just a bit too implausible to let go. And when I think back about it, I actually let a lot of things go for this movie. I mean, Heimdall can see everything but Mrs. Thanos' ship. Sure, we all make mistakes. Thor can just jam somebody else's eye into his socket and see again. Whatever, I guess he's a god. The mortal rules don't apply to him. Doctor
Space magic, space science, sure.
Strange has literally the whole movie to use his time stones and just doesn't, even though he should see Thanos' plans for galactic genocide coming a mile away. And he has portals that are able to rip people in half, or at the very least capture them, which...
Or at least chop off the arm. Why don't you do it? Mirror dimension, why don't you do
could
it?
make pulling off the gauntlet very easy. You know, I don't have an explanation for that. It's movie magic, okay? And Doctor Strange is my favorite Marvel superhero, so he basically gets a free pass all around. No, the problem I had with this movie was none of these things, it was this scene. Did you catch it? It was over in a snap, literally. Thanos snaps.
Get it. It was over in a snap.
His fingers and wipes out half the universe for the sake of resource conservation, like some sort of over-enthusiastic Al Gore. But there's a problem here. The snap itself, the actual act of clicking his fingers like a hulky Dorothy trying to click her heels to get back to Kansas. I mean, come on! He's wearing a giant gauntlet made of Uru, a metal. He can't just snap his fingers while he's wearing that, right? Think about every movie you've ever seen where people are wearing metal armor. Every Game of Thrones episode. Heck, every British period piece where they wear those dainty tea gloves. Nobody is snapping in those things. I mean, I can't even unlock my cell phone when there's a little French fry grease on my fingers, so snapping in a gauntlet is near impossible. And not by the rules of some convoluted comic book universe, but by the basic laws of physics. It's moments like this where I'm like, Marvel, I love you. I count down to every release you have like a 6-year-old counting down to Christmas. But sometimes it's like, do you even science, bro? So I have to call you out, answer the tough yet essential questions here, and show you why Thanos' finishing move is a deafening dud. To the Theorist Mobile! If we want...
I like it. The and then zoom in, zoom out of Thanos' face. Let me try. Zoom in, zoom out.
To determine whether you can snap while wearing the Infinity Gauntlet, we should first clarify what's actually making the sound of a snap. Duh, MatPat, a snap is just the sound that your finger makes when it hits your palm. You, the 22-year-old master of acoustics, might be saying. Well, let's put that assertion to the test. First, snap your fingers. Now, do the same thing, but hold your index finger, ring finger, and pinky away from your hand. I'm completely serious. Try it now. Everyone all done? It sounds pretty different, right? Keep trying to snap with your fingers in different arrangements. I mean, sure, it still makes a sound when your middle finger hits your palm. It just doesn't make the same kind of snapping sound. And that's because snapping is actually acoustically a lot more complicated than we imagine.
The air, boom, 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 boom.
It's this thing that most of us learn to do when we're 6 or 7, specifically to use as social currency in 1st grade, and yet to this day it remains one of these universal mysteries that we don't really understand about our own bodies. So let's unravel that mystery right now. True, the thud of your finger hitting your palm makes a sound, and so does your finger as it moves down your thumb and pops off at the end. But actually, both of those sounds are quiet compared to the popping noise that's made by the air in your hand. Now, that might sound weird, but when you snap, the air that's trapped in your hand is what's making the big sound, or in our case, making half the universe disappear. Let me show you. Look at the shape of your hand when you're getting ready to snap. It should look roughly like this. You'll see that your ring finger and pinky are pressed against your palm, roughly creating a cone that's closed or nearly closed at the bottom. When your middle finger moves towards your palm, the cone changes shape really quickly, which actually forces air up and out of the cone towards your index finger. The reason why most people have a similar hand position when they're snapping is because this cone shape ends up being the best for amplifying sound. The
best for amplifying the sound. So this is, yeah, true that. Why have I been snapping this for so long? Because it is best for more sound.
Movement out of your hand cone projects sound and the air pressure in one concentrated direction. This is crucial for the snap, and it's actually the same way that the flared end of a horn or a brass instrument works. The more you can compress the air in the cone with your fast middle finger movement, the faster the air will be to rush out of your hand cone and the louder the snap sounds. That's why when you move your middle finger faster, you get a louder snap than when you move your middle finger slower. If you want to snap even louder, you can use 2 hands. Seriously, it's called the Persian snap. And while the YouTube tutorials I found were hopeless in teaching me how to do it effectively, you can hear for yourself how loud it can be. So here's the rub. Thanos is actually creating this shape with his hands. He's actually got pretty good form going into the snap. So
there's a funneling involved of the air pressure.
Shouldn't he be able to create a great sound at the climactic moment? Well, no. Because if you thought that physics has already ruined snapping for you ain't seen nothing yet. More sciencing! The second issue is one that was actually recognized in the movie, or at least in the movie filming. Josh Brolin, the actor who plays Thanos, reveals that when he was doing motion capture for the movie, the Infinity Gauntlet was represented by a hockey glove, and that posed some problems.
And to snap with hockey gloves on just doesn't work.
So does that mean it would be impossible to snap while wearing any kind of glove on a hand, including one that's blinged out with magical rocks? Well, not necessarily. One of the issues with snapping while wearing gloves is that your fingers create less friction with the snapping motion. Basically, they're more slippery, which means that the air in the cone never gets a good pop.
Less friction is less rough in comparison to your skin. Your skin is significantly rougher than a clothed glove, something like that.
To gloves, human skin has a high coefficient of friction, meaning that you actually need a lot of force to get skin to move on other skin. But to give you a comparison, the coefficient of friction on the palm of your hand is about 0.62. The coefficient of friction on cotton is about 0.51, and the coefficient of metal, like aluminum, is 0.42. Since metal has a lower coefficient of friction than a lot of other materials, it'll naturally be worse at snapping than almost anything else you could wear. That being said, what you lose in friction, you can actually make up for with sheer force. You can try this at home just with your fingers. Hold your middle finger against your thumb loosely and snap. It's kind of dull and quiet, right? Now press your middle finger really hard against your thumb and snap. It's much louder.
Let me try.
Increasing the force required to overcome the friction, you speed up the moving finger, which in turn speeds up the air that's being compressed, which in turn makes the snap louder. Could you do the same thing while wearing a magical metallic gauntlet? Theoretically, yeah, especially if you're as strong as a mad titan. The other thing that's actually sitting in Thanos' favor here is metal's ability to conduct sound. Going back to what I said a few minutes ago, that snapping moves air a lot like a brass instrument or a horn, have you ever stopped to wonder why horns are made of metal and brass? Well, it has a lot to do with the fact that metal is actually a great sound conductor. This is because at the molecular level, metal molecules are arranged in a lattice structure, which—
a lattice structure for the metal to be a good sound conductor. Well, the more you know. Thank you so much for being so educational in this video. Thank you. Yeah.
just means that the molecules repeat in the same patterns over and over and over again. When you have that kind of molecular structure, it's able to carry sound waves through in a very uniform way, preserving the sound wave and either allowing it to bounce right off or projecting it outward. Fabrics like cotton or leather that you might use for other kinds of gloves have a totally different molecular structure because they're polymers. Instead of being able to preserve the sound, polymers, which are long and tangly, break up the sound waves and absorb them, making them really bad sound conductors. That's why fabrics are used to absorb sound. So it seems like everything should be aligning for the Infinity Gauntlet to make one tremendous and thunderous snap like you hear in the movie, except there's one huge factor getting in the way. You know how we said that metals transfer the forces applied to them into the surrounding air? Well,
so the more you know. If you want to dampen or soundproof your surroundings, try your best to cover yourself with a lot of blankets. Like for me, when I'm recording, a lot of clothing involved, but not as much.
That's assuming that air is the thing that's surrounding them. Again, think about a trumpet or a horn. There's air vibrating inside the horn caused by your mouth blowing all that nice air and spit, and it's transferred to the outside all along the horn and through the metal's ability to vibrate as the cone widens at the end. The Infinity Gauntlet, though, has a problem, which is that Thanos' hand is in it. If we were able to take his hand out, you'd actually get a lot of reverberation from a snapping sound because the metal would be free to vibrate with air on either side. But because this is the Infinity Gauntlet and was made specifically for Thanos by the Dwarf King, we know that this gauntlet genuinely fits like a glove. The glove do fit, you can't quit. That means that when Thanos snaps, his fingers inside the gauntlet will actually be deadening his own snap, with most of the sound energy simply being transferred into his own skin. This isn't to say that there won't be any sound when Thanos snaps, just that instead of an actual snap or even a kind of metallic clunk, we're just more likely to get a metal grinding sound from how hard he has to press to get the snap to work in the first place. It's not exactly impressive for the Master of the Universe.
But you must recognize that he possessed the 6 singularities that governs the universe. Like for example, reality stones. He has the reality stones. He can change reality. Like the laws of physics doesn't work for him because he can just change it. So having said that, he can just create the sound with one of the stones. Yeah, right?
After researching all of this for the last couple weeks,
especially when you have all 6 stones,
I wanted to see if anyone had tested snapping in metal gloves. So as I was literally finishing the last couple sentences of this episode, I found out that my buddy Kyle Hill over on Because Science actually did an episode covering this topic a couple weeks ago. He takes a very different approach to this, where instead of diving into the acoustics, he goes for the practical physics and actually tries on a bunch of different gauntlet recreations from one of my other favorite creators on YouTube, Tony Swanton from Sword in the Stone, who makes all kinds of movie and video game weapons in real life. If you want to see some of the stuff that they put to the test because you just can't get enough of fictional gauntlet physics, well, definitely check that one out. And yes, before you run off to the comments and remind me that Thanos literally has the power of all the universes in his hand so he can make his snap sound like anything he wants. And at the end of the day, remember, it's just a theory. A film theory. And now that you know Thanos' dirty little secret behind his lame finishing move, you can ruin Infinity War for all your friends and family. But it doesn't have to stop with Marvel movies. Oh no! There's a whole world of bizarre physics out there to make you and everyone you know weirded out or paranoid about pretty much anything you could ever want. Basically the thesis of Game Theory and Film Theory's channels. In all seriousness, taking the stuff we take for granted every day and learning about how it actually works, whether it's how we snap, why your toaster flips bread in the air, or even why you can see through glass, has always been mind-blowing to me.
Keep it educational, keep it knowledgeable, and keep it just family friendly so that everyone can learn about it.
If you're into the same kinds of things as I am, well, you need to check out our sponsor for today's episode, which is Audible.com, where you can tap into an entire library of content on everyday physics. Learn about how hybrid cars actually work while on your commute by listening to the physics of everyday things, or understand how the touchscreen on your phone works while trolling through social media on your touchscreen phone while you listen to Stuff Matters. This is suddenly a really meta sponsorship, but seriously, this stuff is amazing, and because it's all in audiobook form, it's just getting smarter through the process of osmosis. Just listen and let the knowledge pass into your brain. If you haven't tried Audible yet, now is the time to do it, because they have a whole bunch of new ways you can get the service and try out a big discount. All during July, if you're a member of Amazon Prime, which let's face it, most of us are, you can get Audible for just $4.95 a month for the first 3 months, which is basically getting 3 months for the price of 1 regular month. Just that alone gets you all the way through the summer and the beach reading that you're going to be doing, except without the glare on your screen from where you actually have to read a book. When you're a member, you also get an audiobook credit every month, so you can try out new books as they roll out all year long and add them to your library. But if it turns out that you don't like the one that you picked up, you can just exchange it and get a different one, no problem. And one other nice thing is that as you build up an Audible library, you keep it forever. Something I hate about subscription services is that if I need to give it up, I lose everything that's in my subscription library. But with Audible, you keep everything you own in your library even if you leave. There's also now multiple ways to get Audible. Online, if you're watching from a computer at audible.com/filmtheorists, or if you're watching from your phone and you really like sending text messages, you can also text Film Theorists, FILMTHEORISTS, to 500 and they'll send you a custom link to sign up. We also just have the link right in the description below, so honestly you should just click that there and start jamming out to the smooth sounds of practical physics or literally any other topic you could want. I know the FNAF books are out on Audible, so if you don't want to bother reading through those things, you can just listen to them and try to unearth the lore for yourself. Good luck with that one. Anyway, that's audible.com/filmtheorists. Link is in the description. Seriously, guys, if you want to get smarter this summer, just listen to a couple books. It is totally worth your time. And now, if you'll excuse me, I need to get back to that Purge episode that I promised last week and that didn't come out this week. Sorry, it was actually a lot tougher to figure out than I expected. See you then!
Alright, well, thank you so much for watching this video together with me. I hope that you find this video very interesting and educational. Like, let's see, edutainment for the win! Thank you so much, and I hope to see you in my next video. If you do like this video, please remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you have anything to share with us. Don't forget to follow my channel, and I sincerely appreciate all of your support and encouragement for my work. Thank you so much, and once again, it is just another Singapore. Sorry. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. Thanks for watching. That is wrong thing. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut. Thank you. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Subscribe.
Have you ever really thought much about Have you ever really thought much about
Hello everyone, it's me, Star Wars! Let's learn to write a great writing. Pew 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 pew! Hello everyone, it's me. One more time, I think I messed up. Pew 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 pew! Hello everyone, it's me, Star Wars! Let's learn to have a great writing for story with character development. For the win, let's go!
Have you ever really thought much about Han Solo's rank in the rebellion?
General Solo.
What? General? Really? The last time the rebellion saw Han Solo before this, he was planning to bail on everyone.
I thought you had decided to stay.
Well, the bounty hunter we ran into when Lord Mendel changed my mind.
Then he gets frozen in carbonite for a year, gets forgiven, and immediately gets promoted to general? What? How does that even make any sort of sense?
Well, maybe it's a trap!
No wonder the rebellion ends up with such tactical geniuses as Vice Admiral Holdo. I wonder how long she spent in carbonite. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory!
Hello Internet! Welcome to Film Theory! Hello!
Last chance to hop into an escape pod if you want to avoid spoilers for Solo, and, well, the entire Star Wars franchise, because not only are we heading straight into the asteroid field of movie plot points, but this theory might actually spoil Han Solo for you as a character across the Star Wars universe.
Alright, so, I'm sorry, maybe a lot of spoilers, maybe a lot of plot holes. Sorry.
But hey, you won't be alone. As a fellow Star Wars fan over here, I was as excited about a Han Solo prequel as anyone. And that was about like, meh, I'm kind of excited about this. But after watching it, I was left with no choice. I had to come to terms with the only conclusion you can about Han Solo. The handsome, hunky space cowboy we all once knew and had confusing feelings about is actually nothing but an overhyped poser. That's right. The quote-unquote best pilot in the galaxy is nothing but a credit-stealing lackey whose success in the entire Star Wars franchise is a complete and total farce.
Whoa! Wait, what? He lied? He fooled us? Fooled
Han
us?
Solo is a lie. Period. End of story. He sucks. And it's all thanks to what we see in the prequel.
So it's like more like a trick, Malinger?
Are you still there? Okay,
I'm
great.
here.
For the 12 of you who didn't rage quit this video after me saying all of that, first off, I'm gonna prove that everything I just said is true, and secondly, I'm gonna make a believer out of you too. On with the theory! Since apparently none of you went to see Solo in theaters, I'll catch you up on this completely predictable plot of this latest movie. Young Han Solo starts the movie by escaping his crappy home planet, but oops, he leaves his girlfriend Kira, nope, not that one either, Kira, behind. After debating whether to abandon her for less time than it took me to say this sentence, he's like, peace, I'm out of here. Han first goes to the Imperial service, but as snooty, highbrow thief, he finds the work distasteful. So he runs away and becomes a smuggler. After completely ruining his smuggler mate's business prospects and killing off a couple dozen of them in the process, he wins the Millennium Falcon from Lando in a card game. Lando and his highly progressive droid L337 go with Han on a mission to retrieve a MacGuffin. I mean, a hyper-evolved energy source, and
MacGuffin, of course.
in the process, they complete the legendary Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs, if you round down. So this all sounds like yet another fun and wacky Star Wars adventure. So why am I going so hard on Han? Well, this movie is supposed to establish to us why Han has such an amazing reputation as a pilot and a smuggler by the time we reach the original Star Wars trilogy. But if you actually look at the movie, then go back and even look at episodes 4 through 6 of the original trilogy, you can see that Han actually sucks at all those things. Roll the tape. Everything starts when you see him at the opening of Solo, where, by the way, he's not a pilot yet and doesn't have experience flying anything but some measly hovercraft. They make that very clear in the opening moments. And the early scenes of the movie show that he's not even good at handling those hovercraft. The only thing we know he does successfully is hotwire a hover car, which means that he's skilled enough to have watched about 2 YouTube videos on how to hotwire something. Yes, those videos videos exist, and no, you shouldn't watch them for anything but educational purposes. Once we see him steal a vehicle, he cruises away in a classic Star Wars-style chase scene, and this becomes the first moment where we see his great piloting skills put to the test.
Huh, interesting. His great piloting skills put to a test. Let's go.
He goes in for the classic thread-the-needle maneuver he would later be known for, and completely fails. He biffs it, he crashes, the ship is ruined. But okay, I hear you saying it already, this movie is to show him growing. He can't start off being amazing at everything. The Karate Kid doesn't wax off perfectly his first time either. And I hear you, I understand that. I went into this movie expecting that. But what?
Yes, there's character development into
But
it.
if I told you that Han never learns to fly, that this level of piloting ineptitude is where Han starts and where he stays for all the rest of his time alive. Don't believe me? Let's keep going. After we establish that Han sucks at flying at the beginning of the movie, we watch him continue to suck the next time he gets a chance behind the wheel. Or, I guess planes don't have wheels, so the next time he takes the stick? That doesn't sound right either. We gotta really come up with some better piloting metaphors. Anyway, we see Han join the Imperial Army expecting to learn to fly, but we then fast forward 3 years and he's a boots-on-the-ground grunt. He's not a pilot. He was expelled from flight school.
He's kicked out of the flight academy.
We never actually get a sense of how much training he receives, but based on what we see next, it couldn't have been much. The next time we see Han fly is with his smuggler friend Beckett.
I'm putting together a crew. You in?
Which, if you've seen the movie, can't really be called a success. While trying to steal hyperfuel from a train, they're attacked by some marauders on flying motorcycles. Their getaway driver is shot and killed, leaving Han in the pilot's seat. And what's our ace flyer to do? He literally runs into the side of a mountain. With 2 or 3 motorcycle riders to his left, he doesn't think to, I don't know, turn right, and instead runs himself headlong into the mountain, dropping the hyperfuel, leaving the mission a complete disaster with 2 people dead and literally nothing to show for it. Goodbye mission, goodbye smuggler money, and thanks a lot, Han.
Mission fail! Han blew it! Blame him lah, of course.
Solo. And just to reiterate, we're 45 minutes into the movie at this point, and there is still no learning curve on Han's piloting abilities. Han hasn't learned anything about being a pilot, or a smuggler for that matter, between the first scene and now. In fact, his piloting is just more deadly and more costly than it ever has been. But I know you Star Wars fans are really persistent, and you're still making arguments here that
Star Wars fan, get it, fan?
none of these early scenes matter because by the end of the movie, Han is an amazing pilot. He's your man crush Monday and there's nothing I can say to change your mind. Well, let's just look at that supposedly amazing Kessel Run from the end of the movie, and in the meantime, prepare for your man crush to be totally crushed, man. Let's look at how the Kessel Run goes down.
Man crush become totally crushed? Okay.
Typical Han style, he promises that he can retrieve raw, completely unstable hyperfuel from Kessel, which is a planet that just so happens to be a hop, skip, and a jump through a maelstrom that's unnavigable for most pilots.
Coincidence?
But not for ol' Han, or should I say not for Lando and L337. And here's where Han's piloting really starts to unravel. Let's talk about L337, the robo-justice warrior whose name alone is just pure cringe since it's a bunch of movie execs trying to be cool by naming their robot in leet speak. According to Lando, one of the reasons L3 is so advanced and eccentric is the fact that she hasn't had her memory wiped in years. The advantage this gives her is that now she has a vast navigational record that serves as the most detailed and nuanced map in the galaxy.
With a lot of memories and a lot of experience involved.
Such incredible records not only allow L3 to travel efficiently, but also let her to make maneuvers through dangerous, poorly charted areas like asteroid fields, or, in the case of our Kessel Run, the Maelstrom. She's in charge of overseeing the navigation of the Millennium Falcon safely through the Maelstrom on the way to Kessel, which she does without even flexing. But then on Kessel, something unexpected happens. Namely, everyone on board becomes a social justice warrior too. While on Kessel, L337 tries to free her fellow robots from an eternity of servitude, but gets shot in the process. Just when she's about to go offline permanently, Lando uploads her data into the Millennium Falcon to save her AI and bolster the ship's navigational abilities, in the process linking her consciousness with the ship forever. And this is the linchpin in exposing Han Solo's lies. We now have a droid's consciousness linked with the Millennium Falcon, specifically a piloting droid, with what's established as the most robust navigational knowledge in the galaxy. It's only after this point that we see Han Solo actually perform impressive piloting maneuvers, and you'll notice it's only ever in the Millennium Falcon. Don't believe me? Look at this. At the end of Solo, we see Han finally pull off his signature thread the needle maneuver. It bookends his failure with the move earlier on in the movie with the hover cars and is meant to show the growth of his skills, right? He then goes on to do it twice more throughout the series. First in The Empire Strikes Back while he navigates the asteroid, and then again, even more famously, to escape the cave.
No cave.
But here's the thing, it's not him pulling off those maneuvers, it's L3. We know this not because we see him being a terrible pilot later, but because we see plenty of other characters who are definitely not pilots suddenly becoming amazing at flying as soon as you put them at the helm of the Millennium Falcon.
Oh, so it was not because they are good pilots, it's just that they have a good plane. Okay, or they have a good robot to maneuver the machine.
In Return of the Jedi, a film in which Han never pilots the Falcon on screen, Lando gets a hold of the Falcon and pulls off multiple close maneuvers, including the same thread the needle move getting through the core of the second Death Star. And in case you think that Lando might have perfected the move in the time that he owned the ship, how about someone who has never flown before, period? When Rey flies the Falcon for the first time in her life, she manages to pull off the same exact move. And then again, a few weeks later on Crate, she does it one more time for good measure.
Oh my god, it's something similar to a plot armor. Like, they were excellent.
And we know it can't be Rey's parents passing on good piloting skills since, you know...
They're filthy junk traders.
That's one that's gonna come back and bite him a couple times if my theories have anything to say about it. Long story short, the common thread through all of this, it's not the pilot skills, it's the ship. The ship with L337, the most advanced piloting droid in the galaxy built into its system. Rey may not realize how much the Falcon is actually helping her out, but Han certainly knows. Have you ever stopped to notice how Han is rarely the person flying when the ship is under attack? In episode 4, he actively gives up piloting to Chewie so he could have more fun, be more helpful by hopping into one of the turrets. In episode 5, neither Han nor Chewie are in the cockpit when the Falcon is actively under Imperial fire.
Han, get up here!
But the ship somehow manages to come out unscathed.
Somehow.
And how about all those times that Han talks about his evasive maneuvers?
Besides, I know a few maneuvers, we'll lose them.
Yeah, flying in a straight line. Real evasive there, Han. You'll notice that he does this while the navigational system, i.e. L3, is busy charting a hyperspace route.
We'll be safe enough once we make the jump to hyperspace.
Let's face it, his name should be Han Didn't Do It Solo. Honestly, considering the origin of his name in Solo, wouldn't be much dumber. Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, I'm sorry to dash your dreams of hunky Han, the great star pilot. But hey, if you have your heart set on becoming a great pilot like Han Solo when you grow up, now you know that even without stepping foot in a cockpit, you've probably already hit the benchmark, since let's face it, the bar is pretty darn low. The only question this theory leaves me with is one I'm gonna leave you with now too. Did the filmmakers know? I hate to say it, but this theory is backed up with a lot of evidence across the movies, so much so that I would actually speculate that the makers of Solo may have known what they were doing here. Think about it. The whole movie plays up this idea that L3 is a liberated droid. She's a cocky pilot, she's too good for Lando's advances, and she takes it upon herself to liberate all droids in the Star Wars universe. And then she ends up literally buried in the wiring of the Millennium Falcon. In the meantime, Han Solo, a human who never accomplishes anything without her help, gets all of the credit for her work, spending the next 3 movies bragging about all his amazing flying abilities.
Wow, so technically speaking is Han, he never did it solo.
Did Lucas and Disney intend to show how incredibly unfair the situation is? I don't know, but if so, man, that makes me like this movie a whole lot more. And with how much I really didn't like the movie, that helps a lot. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut.
Wow. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that this video has been very interesting and unique to watch for you. Sincere appreciation and gratitude towards everyone for showing your attention and positivity towards me and my channel. Thank you so much. Really grateful for it. And if you do like this video, please remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Once again, let me repeat one more time. It is like, share and subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you have any questions down below. Don't forget to follow my channel, and I sincerely appreciate all of your support and encouragement for my work. Thank you all so much, and I hope to see you all in my next video. But hey, that's just But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye bye. Thank you all so much. Subscribe. Thank you. I still got 21 videos. Oh my gosh, today is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'll probably finish 2018 by Thursday. Gosh. Hopefully by Thursday lah. Hopefully by Thursday I can finish. Eat ceiling. Let's do my best.
When you stop and look at it, one film in Pixar's catalog truly shows us.
I'm purely tired. I cannot react to all these videos, 真是累. Purely tired with all the stress. Like honestly very tired. I just want to rest, sleep and rest. After this video, I'm gonna rest up first. Let's start. Shoot! Hello everyone, it's me, Wally! Let's find the truth behind it all, behind the scenes. One more time. Shoot! Hello everyone, it's me. Let's find the. Shoot! Hello everyone, it's me, Wally. Let's find the truth behind the scenes. Let's go together.
No, when you stop and look at it, one film in Pixar's catalog truly shows us the dangers of the rampant consumerism in today's culture. It's a statement on the human desire to accumulate more and more and more useless stuff that just becomes garbage. Meaningless trash that eventually cycles back to becoming meaningless trash. And that movie is...
Ka-chow!
Thunder Hollow Challenge, quick fix, and they're back on the... Each sold separately. Other cards each sold separately. Each sold separately. Sold separately. Each sold separately. Batteries not included. Each sold separately. Each sold separately.
Cars. Internet, welcome to Film Theory.
Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory.
The show that does the dirty work of sifting through mountains of detail with the efficiency of a Wall-E robot. Which is to say, not very efficiently at all, but
over time, he can become sentient and improve the efficiency, yeah.
hey, at least we try really hard. You know, if there's one thing to say about my favorite Pixar movie, Wall-E, it's that it's not exactly subtle with its theme. The Earth has been transformed into a post-apocalyptic wasteland, left in a ruined state by humanity's wasteful consumerism. And not in a cool way like Sakaar in Thor Ragnarok. Plastic sporks, Rubik's Cubes, leftover Twinkies, the kinds of trash that you and I produce on a daily basis litter every square inch of the planet. The message is beaten over our head.
We didn't take care of our Earth, and now you've inherited our problems. We didn't listen! We didn't listen!
Oh gosh, we didn't take up our problem and we pass it on to the next generation, which is wrong. We should not do this. We did not listen. You did not listen. My father did not listen. My father's father did not listen. Your father did not listen. Your father's father did not listen. Your mother didn't listen. Your mother didn't listen. My mother didn't listen. My mother's mother didn't listen. Everyone didn't listen. Yeah. So technically speaking, is everyone is at fault.
Soup tin that you toss, every banana peel that you give the slip, and every Diet Coke can that gets canned is part of the problem. You, dear viewer, sitting in the theater eating your jumbo tub of popcorn and your mega-sized Coke, have made this Earth uninhabitable with your wanton lust for more. More stuff, more things, and now humanity has been forced to take to the stars while these innocent little robots have been forced to clean up our mess for the last 700 years.
B&L Starliners leaving each day. We'll clean up the mess while you're away.
This movie wants to give us a wake-up call, to get us to go green and keep blue, to crush us with guilt every time we get an Amazon order and see all those little air pouches that come packaged with it that you just gotta pop before you can throw them all away, because they take up so much damn room in the garbage. And while I hope all the theorists out there are for environmental responsibility, there's one thing that I've learned from years of watching movies and TV shows, and that's you can't believe everything you're told at face value. And Wall-E here, for as much as I love it, is no exception. When you actually stop and question the events of the movie, you start to realize that something sinister is afoot. A planet covered in garbage is just one part of a larger conspiracy in the Pixar universe. And today, I'm gonna prove to you that everything we've been led to believe about Wall-E and its trash-filled cities is complete and total garbage. In the opening scenes of Wall-E, we see abandoned buildings, light poles, street signs, and other indicators that this was once a thriving metropolis. This indicates the breakdown of one of the most basic things required for a modern city to function, a waste management system that transports waste out of the city towards landfills. I don't know if you've ever stopped to think about it, but nearly all of a city's trash is transported out of the city to landfills that could be hundreds or even thousands of miles away from city limits. And though that might seem like a dirty business, both literally and figuratively, waste disposal is big money. Contractors get into bidding wars over the ability to take away a city's trash.
Yeah, so money in your crap. Yeah.
And then I start eating garbage. I'm the trash man.
Because not only does it allow you to collect on a city's tax dollars, you know, all that stuff that's taken out of your paycheck for sanitation expenses, but landfill waste actually tends to produce methane gas, which many landfills are designed to capture and turn back into electricity. Just 2 landfill gas-to-energy facilities can generate enough electricity to power 16,000 homes. So basically, trash collectors are double-dipping. Payment to take out the garbage, and then extra payment for selling electricity made from that garbage back to the city. It's a fantastic business. If in Wall-E humanity can afford to create rockets that transport everyone off the planet, then it can absolutely very easily afford to have trucks deliver trash to landfills. As long as there is space literally anywhere in the world, we're not gonna have the problem that's depicted in Wall-E, which means that for the situation to have gotten this bad, the world must have run out of space for landfills. Except that one isn't gonna be true either. You see, trash is a problem that people in science and business have been studying for a long time.
Pokemon, why?
One of those people was the self-proclaimed garbologist, Dr. William Rathje. And
okay, I'm sorry, what? Garbologists? Okay. The more you know, I guess, the more you know.
Archaeologist professor at University of Arizona who turned his powers of archaeology not toward studying dinosaur bones or millennia-old human remains, but studying the way that humans manage and treat trash. Hey, not all archaeologists are gonna be Indiana Jones, okay?
That belongs in a museum!
According to an article by Dr. Rathje in Smithsonian Magazine, the total amount of landmass needed to contain all of our trash isn't that large. A single landfill 120 feet deep and 44 miles square would be able to handle the US's waste for the next 100 years. Now granted, that's a landfill the size of Delaware, which sounds like a lot, but remember, that's our second smallest state. It's 1/20th of 1% of the US's total landmass, 0.0005, and that's to handle all of the waste created by the entire US for 100 years. If we kept filling landfills at the same rate we do now, after 10,000 years, we would still have only covered 5% of our total available area. 10,000 years later. In short, the prospect of running out of space for all our trash anytime near the future just isn't realistic, and certainly not realistic in the 700-year future of WALL-E, not even in the 10,000-year hypothetical future. Besides, by the time humanity gets that far, we'll probably have other ways of dealing with trash, more efficient ways, or, you know, just launching it into space and sending it out into the sun. But I know what you're thinking. All of that is at our current rate, right? What about the future? We're gonna get more and more wasteful and generate more and more garbage as the years go on, right? That's what I was thinking too, but when you actually sit down and do the research, this assumption turns out to be incorrect. For as weird as it might seem, as time goes on and our society becomes more advanced, the amount of waste we produce goes downward. Every year we're figuring out ways to make our packaging more and more efficient.
Yes, and also, fun fact, Team Trees, Team Seas, both are important. Please help save the world. Thank you so much.
1950s, we replaced heavy and dense glass bottles with plastic bottles. Then we replaced those plastic bottles with thinner bottles. You see it all the time on items like water bottles. This bottle is designed to use 20% less plastic. And this waste reduction is all thanks to companies being run under the idea that green is good. But not environmental green. No, it's not nearly that altruistic of a goal. Money! Money green is good. When a company figures out how to make a bottle with 20% less plastic, sure, it's good for the environment, but it's also good for the bottom line. It means they saved money by manufacturing 20% less plastic. Packaging foam gets slimmer every year. Why? Not because companies care about the environment, but because the less packaging material you use, the less it costs, and the more items that you can fit into a shipping container or a warehouse. This is one of the places where businesses driven by profit actually make the world more sustainable, even when they're not intentionally trying to be environmentally friendly. Being green simply nets you more green. Our intuition would say that more development equals more consumption equals more waste. But in the world right now, less advanced societies tend to produce more waste because they don't benefit from all the innovations that we have in producing more efficient packaging.
More efficient waste management involved in these countries, which is really sad, you know. We as humanity must help each other.
Food preservation techniques like refrigeration and a transportation network that ensures that food is always getting to the people who are able to use it rather than being unsold and left to rot. The average person living in New York City right now generates less waste than a person living in Mexico City. In short, as the world gets more and more technologically developed, we're gonna produce less and less waste, not more. Even things like saving paper. We do things all digitally now, so we've saved tons and tons of paper. All of this. The obvious profit motives that companies have to deal with our city's trash problem, the indirect profit motive of companies wanting to use less materials and make things more efficient, and the relatively small amount of land mass it would take to create a landfill to deal with it all, makes it seem like the futuristic dystopia that we see in WALL-E should be impossible. There is no way a city could fill up with garbage like this quickly.
This quickly and make it 100% not possible for human beings to live in. No, it's not possible.
Unless this was intentionally what you were trying to do. But that would be stupid, right? Who would intentionally want to fill up a planet with garbage?
B&L Starliners leaving each day. We'll clean up the mess while you're away. Too much garbage in your face? There's plenty of space out in space.
Because at B&L, space is the final frontier.
Too much garbage in your face?
Too much garbage in your face? Space is the final frontier.
So get ready for the adventure of a lifetime. The Axiom is waiting, and the stars are calling.
That's right. The company responsible for the WALL-E program that's supposed to clean up the Earth's trash problem was the one that intentionally created the Earth's trash problem to begin with.
How freaking corrupted are these a-holes? Like, seriously, come on.
Why? Well, it's simple. By getting the Earth's population onto by and large starliners like the Axiom, by and large has what marketers refer to as a captive audience. People who have no choice but to consume your products and your advertisements.
Captive audience, a monopoly.
On board the Starliner, the company has an absolute monopoly over humanity with no opportunity for competition. Everything about these people's lives, from the entertainment they're viewing to the food they consume, is all managed by this one single mega corporation. Children are even indoctrinated from early childhood to consume by and large products.
C is for by and large.
Everyone seems to think that humanity's rampant consumerism inadvertently turned the Earth into the uninhabitable wasteland that it is, that the B&L Starliners were the solution the company came up with to solve it. But look at the way the B&L Starliners are advertised. They show people living in luxury, almost like space is a getaway vacation.
Spend your 5-year cruise in style, waited on 24 hours a day by our fully automated crew.
This doesn't look like a disaster relief program at all. It looks like a space cruise that was designed as a way to siphon people's cash away. But there's just one problem with that.
They are too corrupted. They feel to have check and balances involved, and it causes absolute power corrupts absolutely. Come on.
Everyone is willing to go to space. A survey by the Manpower Research Agency found that only 32% of workers would be willing to permanently relocate overseas, even if it meant getting a better job and advancing their career. If only 32% of people are willing to cross the border for a better life, how many fewer people would be willing to leave the entire planet and everyone they know and love for the unknowns of outer space? No, it's not enough to entice people off the planet. When no one was willing to go on their expensive space cruises, they needed to find a way to force people off of the planet. And what better way than to turn every city into a huge contamination zone? And not only do they have the motive, they have the means to do it. They're the largest seller of goods in the Pixar-verse, so they could very easily create less efficient products. Then they would throttle the sanitation supply. I mean, you see it in Up. By and large controls construction companies, so chances are they could also control the waste disposal companies too. Because what's better than saving a couple bucks by being green? Well, stealing everyone's lifetime income by keeping them captive on your space cruiser. In WALL-E,
we are all prisoners, unable to escape from this B&L. What the?
we see the world reduced to a desolate wasteland, and all this time we've been led to believe that this was something that happened because of us, because humanity was careless and wasteful and didn't look after the environment. But the truth is far more sinister. It was by and large corporate greed that caused this to happen.
Corporate greed.
This without
corrupted corporate greed. Immense corruption.
A doubt solidifies by and large as the most sinister Pixar villain of all time. I mean, sure, Syndrome killed a few people, but by and large killed an entire planet. Now go out and recycle a can. Our fate hangs in the balance. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut.
Wow.
So those are the awful things that by and large did on planet Earth. If you want to see the even more horrific things they did once they got humanity up in space, click the box to the left, the WALL-E cannibalism theory. Or if you want to see my take on the Pixar connected universe theory, that box is to the right. And make sure you subscribe. You made it this deep into the video, chances are you liked it. If you want more Pixar theories, well, get ready because more are in the works. But you won't see them unless you subscribe. Chances are you might not see them even if you subscribe, but hey, help your chances out.
Thank you. Alright, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm sincerely grateful and thankful that you are all so polite and positive with your comments. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you all in my next video. If you do like this video, please remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel, and comment down below if you have anything to share with us. Don't forget to follow my channel, and I sincerely appreciate all of your support and encouragement for our work. Thank you so much for your positivity and motivational words. Very uplifting. And yeah, but hey, that's just a theory. A film theory, and cut. Thank you so much. Once again, thank you so much. Please remember to subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Yeah. I'm gonna rest first. Alright, I'm back. Let's start. Hi everyone, it's me. Let's learn some Disney princesses. Let's go. Hello everyone, it's me. And today, let's learn about Disney princesses together. Let's go. One more time. Hello everyone. Hello everyone, it's me. And today, let's learn about Disney princesses together. Let's go. Disney princess auditions.
Ooh, I'm so nervous.
Oh boy, thank you. We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Next.
Oh boy, looks like it's my turn. Wish me luck, ladies.
Matt Pat looks so cute. Adorable.
My name is Matthew Patrick and
Next.
But
Next.
excuse me, but I
said next. I'm the mouse. You listen to what I say, Theory Boy, and you listen good. You'll never be a Disney princess based on our qualifications.
But what are those qualifications?
It's Walt's little secret. You don't think our old racist movies are the only thing we keep locked up in the Disney vault, do ya?
Fine, you just wait, mouse. It's time I air your dirty little secrets.
Film Theory presents How to Become a Disney Princess.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory. Hello.
Making enemies with globally beloved mascots since 2015. Today I look at one of the most twisted and cutthroat cinematic universes ever conceived, the Disney princesses. All to answer one burning question that we all never thought to ask: what allows you to qualify as a Disney princess? Now that may sound like it's a stupid question. You're a princess who happens to be in a Disney movie, duh. But the answer actually is nowhere near that simple. You see, despite me going to Disneyland hundreds of times and constantly being the old creepy dude
9,000 at one time. It's over 9,000!
who waves enthusiastically to all the princesses as they parade past, what actually got me started down this little vision quest of mine was the trailer for Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet, which included this scene where Princess Vanellope von Schweetz goes to the Oh My Disney website and enters the Disney Princess Room.
Yes, it's not oh my goodness, it's oh my Disney.
What kind of a princess are you?
Do you have magic hair? Magic hands? No. Do animals talk to you? Do people assume all your problems got solved because a big strong man showed up? Yes! She is a princess!
Cue the internet collectively high-fiving each other for that sick burn on male prince types. Got 'em! Well, you got him until you forget that princes have literally risked their lives to save multiple women in this room. Jasmine? Ariel? Yeah, Aurora, you did a really good job fighting back Maleficent when she created that moat of thorns around the castle.
In which you surely you can solve it on your own. Of course. Definitely.
Then turned into a giant dragon and started breathing green fire everywhere. Oh wait, no, you were asleep during that whole thing. It was Prince Philip who did all that. Just saying, gals, it's one thing to be an empowered female, it's another thing to be an ungrateful jerk towards the guy who saved your life.
Yes, it's one thing to become, you're a strong woman. But another thing is, ungrateful little...
Now, this scene is
ungrateful.
Legitimately awesome. Any crossover of this caliber is always going to be exciting. It is a literal who's who of Disney female characters from over the decades, but one thing it is not is an accurate portrayal of Disney princesses. You see, the Disney Princesses is a separate media franchise created in the early 2000s. It's like the NSYNC of Disney animated female characters. And believe it or not, it includes only a very select portion of the princess characters. From the animation studio's nearly 100-year history, only 11 characters are technically included as a Disney princess. Pause the video right now and try to guess who those characters are gonna be. I'll give you a second or two to pause the video. Alright, placed your bets? Good. Some are pretty obvious. Snow White, Cinderella, Aurora, aka Sleeping Beauty, Ariel from Little Mermaid, Belle from Beauty and the Beast, and Jasmine from Aladdin.
Yeah, these are all the standard few, of course, understandably. And also, they want to keep a good image of it. So some of it is the prostitute, maybe not so much.
If this were a game of Scrabble, they'd be worth 1 point. They're like the T's and E's of the Disney princess world. Worth 3 points would be Mulan, Tiana from Princess and the Frog, and Rapunzel from Tangled. Those are the N and P tiles. And the 10-pointer Z's of our little game would be Pocahontas and Merida, the first Pixar princess coming from the movie Brave. Double word score! Now, you may have noticed some pretty big snubs from that list, like, say, Anna and Elsa from Frozen. Literal princesses from Arendelle in what is the highest grossing animated film of all time. No invite to this exclusive club for either of them. How about Moana? Also not on the list. And it's not like they're too new either. Most of the modern characters were coronated as an official Disney princess about a year after the release of their movie.
But you must recognize that this video came out in the year 2018, so a lot of changes must have been done, so yeah.
Rapunzel, Tiana, Merida, all of them had about an 11 to 12 month gap before they were officially christened a Disney princess. And remember, this list is according to the official list located at princess.disney.com, an official
back in the year 2018, so
site
3 years have passed
of Disney.com. This is the real deal here. So what's going on exactly? What in Disney's eyes makes a woman worthy of being a princess? And would Vanellope von Schweetz actually pass the test and merit inclusion in this room from Wreck-It Ralph 2? That, ladies and gentlemen, is my goal today, to turn these empowered women into lists of their core attributes so we can directly compare their worth and find out what methodology Disney is working with to determine their merit. So if we have any hope of
not a princess, princess!
Figuring out the criteria.
Okay, please remember, even though you are a princess, even though you are a woman, don't say you are just a weak woman, I'm just a weak girl. Don't say that, come on. You have to be respectful, be grateful, and yeah, and understand that even if you're a weak girl on the exterior, you can do significantly more things, more actions, more responsibilities than a big grown-up.
Criteria for becoming a
big grown-up man.
Disney princess, we're gonna have to reverse engineer things by seeing who's included, who's excluded, and then figuring out what attributes unite those two groups. Now, as I just mentioned, the exclusion of Anna and Elsa from this group shows that not all princesses in Disney movies go on to become Disney princesses trademarked. But that leads to the question, are all Disney princesses trademarked actual princesses in Disney movies? In other words, are they either the daughter of a king or queen, or are they married to a prince? Well, of the 11, 9 of them are easy. Yes, but 2, Pocahontas and Mulan, require a bit more digging. For Pocahontas, her father, I hate these moments when I copy-paste a hard name into a script and then come across it later in the recording closet, suddenly remembering that I have to pronounce the darn thing. Her father, Wuhun Senakawa, was a powerful chief of the Senakamaka. Confederacy. So she's the daughter to a high-ranking ruler for lack of a better term, which would seem to qualify her as a princess. However, there's a wrinkle here. Pocahontas' tribe didn't have patrilineal inheritance, which means that Wahoo Senakawa's sister's children would be the ones next in line to inherit any actual power, not Pocahontas. That said, even though she falls into this weird middle ground of princessdom, history seems to weigh in her favor. In 1808, James Nelson Barker wrote The Indian Princess, or La Belle Sauvage, one of the first dramatizations of Pocahontas' life. Even earlier than that, St. George's Churchyard, where Pocahontas was buried, posted the notice of the burial of Princess Pocahontas. And later, the churchyard was laid out as the Princess Pocahontas Garden in 1958. So even though it does fall into a bit of a middle ground, consensus does seem to say that Pocahontas can qualify as a princess.
Do remember that we are talking about the franchise, the fictional characters, and not about the real world effects. We're just using the real world effects as reference, not directly onto the real world, in real life individuals. Yeah.
As for Mulan, well, not so much. If you're judging her by her main movie alone, she technically doesn't qualify at all. Remember, Mulan is a commoner who enlists in the Chinese military to protect her father. Sure, she saves all of China from the Huns and falls in love with Captain Shang, but nothing about that qualifies you for the technical definition of a princess. It's not until the direct-to-DVD sequel Mulan 2 where, if you squint really hard at it, she becomes a princess for like maybe 5 minutes. You see, Mulan is hired to escort 3 of the Emperor's daughters to be married off to 3 princes. Historically speaking, these guys would be better classified as warlords, but it's Disney, so they're princes, and the marriages will help ensure peace in China. When her love
Yeah, it's a fictional movie. Let's keep it positive and bright.
Shang falls off a cliff into a giant empty abyss. No joke, this is something that really happens. Mulan assumes what any reasonable person would assume seeing a fall like that. That he dead, son. So she agrees to marry one of the princes for the good of all China. So she's almost a princess until Shang is revealed to have lived. He hears of the marriage and rushes in at the last minute to stop it, thereby ending Mulan's entire claim to princesshood before it even begins. So Mulan? No, not a princess. Almost, but not quite. So Mulan really proves the lesson here that being an actual princess doesn't matter for qualification into this elite group. And if you want a real nail in this coffin, Mulan was included in the roster of Disney princesses back when the group was first created in 2000. Mulan 2 came out in 2004. So there is absolutely zero way that Mulan would have qualified any angle that you slice it from. So being the dictionary definition of a princess does not matter apparently. Then what does? What connects those 11 characters but still leaves out Moana, Anna, Elsa, not to mention other classic Disney females like Meg from Hercules, Esmeralda from Hunchback of Notre Dame, and even Princess Eilonwy from 1985's The Black Cauldron, a literal princess who is based in Welsh fairy tales and was saving the male protagonist of her story 3 decades before any of the strong women of modern Disney rolled into town. I mean, my mind immediately turned to box office performance since those last 3 movies underperformed at the theaters, but clearly that doesn't apply to Moana and Frozen. Heroic acts? Clearly not, since Moana has more heroism in her little toe than Aurora, who spends 90% of her movie asleep. In fact, it's Merida from Brave who throws a monkey wrench into a lot of the qualifications you might expect to work here. I mean, that is the entire premise of her movie. Her queen mother attempts to convince Merida to be a perfect princess, and Merida fights back.
I'm the princess. I'm the example. My whole life is planned out. But every once in a while, there's a day when I don't have to be a princess.
First of all, like I mentioned earlier, Merida was the first Pixar princess, so being part of Disney Animation Studios to be a Disney princess is no longer a qualifier here, which just shows you how ridiculous these qualifications must be. Secondly, she was the first official Disney princess to not have any sort of romantic attachment. Every other one of those 11 characters have themselves a beau, sometimes hunky, sometimes chunky, but there was always a man present. Merida? Nope. But the last difference here is probably the biggest one. Merida doesn't sing. I mean, sure, there's a song about her in the opening of the movie, but Merida herself doesn't sing a single note in her entire film, while every other Disney princess up to that point had. So what is it? What is this magic ingredient that I'm missing? And how does Moana miss the mark? I mean, I can maybe understand Anna and Elsa. Elsa, by the end of her movie, becomes a queen, and Anna is in her shadow the whole movie.
So technically speaking, she's not a princess, she's a queen.
Let's face it, 2 pale-faced princesses from the icy north aren't the most diverse additions to your princess roster. But Moana literally checks off all the boxes. She's the heir apparent to her father's chiefdom, maybe not a princess in name, but certainly a princess in function. She sings and gets her own main theme song. She performs heroic acts, she's selected as special by fate, she represents a culture and ethnicity not present in the existing 11 character roster. Her movie made a butt ton of money, and it came out
multi-million dollars
more than a year ago, meaning that her coronation
You're welcome
is long past due at this point. I mean, even her movie spells it out for her.
It's called wayfinding, princess.
Okay, first, I'm not a princess. I'm the daughter of the chief.
Same difference.
No.
If you wear a dress and you have an animal sidekick, you're a princess.
Wait a minute, is that really it? I mean, sure, it's a joke, but it's being told directly to a character who has obviously not met this invisible bar to being a Disney princess, which I gotta admit makes the subtext for this scene really weird. But even though this meta joke is played for laughs, Maui here might not be joking. When Andy Mooney, creator of the Disney Princess Initiative, was interviewed by the New York Times about how he came up with the idea of grouping together the princesses, he had this to say, quote, "Standing in line in the arena of a Disney on Ice show, I was surrounded by little girls dressed head to toe as princesses. They weren't even Disney products, they were generic princess products they'd appended to a Halloween costume, and the light bulb went off. Clearly, there was a latent demand here. So the next morning,
It's a demand and supply. Because supply.
I said to my team, okay, let's establish standards and a color palette and talk to licensees and get as much product out there as we possibly can that allows these girls to do what they're doing anyway, projecting themselves into the characters from these classic movies." End quote. Translation, let's monetize the heck out of the hopes and dreams of these young, impressionable girls. But what if the only two...
Oh my gosh, aka monetize a lot of money, but these are easily impressible girls, you know.
Qualifications are 1, dress, and 2, animal. Let's look at our list of candidates again. Pocahontas, dress, and Miko the raccoon and Flip the hummingbird. Ariel, dress, and Flounder the fish. Jasmine, dress, and Raja the tiger. Mulan, dress, and Mushu the dragon. Rapunzel, dress, and Pascal the chameleon. Tiana, dress, and Louis the crocodile. Belle, dress, and Philippe the horse, or I guess you could consider the beast himself. Cinderella, dress, and her mice Jacques and Gus. Snow White and Sleeping Beauty, dresses, and general woodland creatures. Merida, dress, and Angus the horse. And now let's look at that excluded list. Meg from Hercules, no animal. Princess Iolani from Black Cauldron, no animal. Esmeralda from Hunchback, okay, she's got herself a dress and a goat, but she's also an outlaw who's treated as an object of sexual desire by the men in the movie, so she's got a couple other things working against her in this qualification. Anna and Elsa, sure, they have Olaf, but he's technically not an animal. And honestly, they do make the cut when it comes to a separate list of Disneyland theme park princesses, in which they're the only new additions. Quite frankly, animal plus dress is the only set of qualifications that clearly delineates the princesses from the not princesses. But that still leaves out Moana. What about her? She clearly has Hey Hey the rooster, so what's holding her back? It's the dress. Despite what Maui might call her outfit, first off, it's technically not a dress by dictionary definition, which is a one-piece garment for a woman or girl that covers the body and extends down to the legs. However, Jasmine from Aladdin also doesn't wear a traditional dress for most of her movie, so that's not the main problem going on here. What is the issue is what Moana's dress represents. Consider this. According to an interview with the site Tyranny of Style, Nessa Beauvais, visual development artist and key costume designer for Moana, emphasizes the goal of staying true to Pacific Islander culture. Quote, "The biggest challenge on the film was the limited materials. We only had 2, tapa and pandanus. Tapa is made from the mulberry tree bark. They pull out the bark and go through a strenuous process of making a paste and eventually tap it all together, hence tapa. Similar story with the pandanus weaving. Pandanus is actually a tree, and they pull the pandanus leaves and shred them into strips. These dry, and later you take each piece and weave it together. You can even braid it. We had a specific rule. If you can find it in the island, you can make it."
If you can find them islands, you make it.
End quote. Staying true to the materials, history, and culture of the Pacific Islands was essential for this movie and its characters. Now look at the 11 existing princesses, each and every one wearing pretty generic attire that alludes to their culture of origin vaguely. At best. Times are different now, and Disney is under more scrutiny than ever about its appropriation of other cultures for money. It's an issue that hung over the head of Moana from before the movie's release and continues to do so today, with specific focus on the costumes. And if the goal of all the Disney princesses is to have young girls wear your dress and look like the character, Moana's outfit, while terrifically designed and culturally sensitive from a movie standpoint, becomes really problematic when you start churning out cheap copies to sell next to your mall's sunglass hut. So what makes a princess? Well, according to Disney, it's not who you are, what you do, or even who you choose to marry. It's what you wear that counts. And isn't that the best message to send to little girls? Next time in our exploration of Disney princesses, we focus on that specific scene from Wreck-It Ralph 2, because the roster is much wider in that room, all in an effort to determine whether Vanellope might truly become Disney's next princess.
She wears a jacket,
Despite what all the other girls might tell her. Speaking of what you wear, Theorist merch is now available for a super limited amount of time, just in the nick of time for back to school. You are guaranteed to get it really quickly after you order it. Admittedly, this round of merch is mainly focused around game theory, but don't worry, Theory. Next time there will be film theory stuff specifically. But if you want yourself an amazing heavy-duty backpack, an awesome shirt that might not make you feel like a princess, but will make you feel like $1 million, what has become my favorite pair of socks because of how soft they are, a Theorist pop socket for your phone so you don't drop it on your face while you're watching Disney movies lying in bed at night, or a Theorist notebook of your very own that might contain a mystery for you to unravel, click the link in the description below. Hey, you can tell a Disney princess by what they wear. Why not be able to tell a Theorist by what they wear as well? Looking stylish in bright, glaring neon green. I'd like to see a Disney princess pull that one off. Click the link in the description to check out that merch, which every purchase comes with little bonus gifts sealed in there too, which is pretty cool. We like to sprinkle in little surprises for you guys. Make sure you curtsy in the direction of that subscribe button so you don't miss next week's episode where we take an analysis of Vanellope von Schweetz in time for Wreck-It Ralph 2. I'm excited about that one. Anytime you get to expose blatant corporate greed, it's usually a pretty exciting time. It's an episode that I'm always very excited to do. So anyway, check it out, click the subscribe button, and most importantly of all, remember, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut.
Wow. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you do like this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you have any of us. Don't forget to follow my channel and sincerely appreciate all of your support and encouragement for me. It's very uplifting and motivating. I hope to see you in the next video. But hey, that's just a theory. A game! Sorry, just a moment. A film theory! Thanks for watching. One more time. Gosh. But hey, that's... and remember, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Thank you so much. Yes! Finally did it! Oh my gosh, so much NG, so much no-go. Well, subscribe! Hello everyone, it's me, and today, Disney Princess, let's learn even more. Hello everyone, it's me, Disney Princesses, let's learn a bit more. Yeah. One more time. Hi everyone, it's me, Disney Princess. Let's learn even more. Let's go.
At last, I've uncovered the secrets of what it means to be a Disney princess. Yeah. Behold, Princess Pat, the first Theorist princess. According to last week's episode, I have everything I need. I've got my royal theory dress, which is very highly merchandisable to the 4-year-olds. I've got myself my sassy animal sidekick, and I've got a can-do attitude. Disneyland Soundsational Parade, here I come.
Not so fast, haha! I told you once and I'll tell you again, you'll never be a Disney princess!
What do you mean, Mouse? I did everything you said.
I call the shots around here, pal, and you'll never make it into my exclusive princess room!
Wait, the random room labeled princesses in the trailer for Wreck-It Ralph 2?
Yeah, eat it!
But that's so arbitrary. Why does being in a room in a completely separate movie qualify you as a princess?
You'll never know because you'll never make the cut! Watch as all those dreams of being a pretty, pretty princess wither and die! And I suck on those sweet, salty tears!
You're You're insane!
Insanely wealthy, you mean?
Mouse, you're no mouse at all. I know what you are now. You're just a rat. Just a dirty, dirty rat!
How to be a Disney princess part 2.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory. Hello. Let's continue.
The show that continues to be a royal pain to the Disney canon by uncovering the double standards in princess selection. Now, if you haven't seen the first part of this series, click here to make sure that you're all caught up as we set off on a quest to determine what makes a princess truly a Disney princess. Last time we concluded that you don't need to be heroic, chosen by fate, you don't need to be able to sing, heck, you don't even need to be a princess. In Disney's eyes, being a princess is all about what you're wearing. The dress, i.e. anything that can be sold at the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique in Disneyland. Oh,
BBD Bobbidi Boutique.
and you also need an animal sidekick. And that's it! That's all there is to it! With an automatic disqualification if you might be mistaken as a prostitute. But
okay! Let's avoid touching topic, shall we? Let's keep it family friendly and wholesome. Thank you so much.
after figuring all of that out, we still have to come back to why I started doing these episodes in the first place, to figure out whether Vanellope von Schweetz from Wreck-It Ralph would qualify as Disney's newest princess, or, at the very least, whether she deserves to be in the Disney princess room that's shown in Wreck-It Ralph 2's trailer. You see, last time we looked at what has historically qualified a character as a Disney princess, but the princess room in the trailer appears to be an updated Disney princess roster, one that's more open and more inclusive. Or not, but there's only one way to find out. So let's get ourselves into the throne room where it happened to find out for ourselves what qualifies you as a Disney princess in the world of Wreck-It Ralph 2, and whether Vanellope might be the newest addition to the Disney princess lineup. So first, who are the Disney princesses of Wreck-It Ralph 2? Well, looking at the trailers, we can identify Jasmine, Snow White, Cinderella, Pocahontas, Vanellope, Elsa and Anna, Moana, Belle, Rapunzel, Merida, Ariel, Aurora, Tiana, and Mulan. Interestingly enough, this doesn't line up with the official list of Disney princesses that we covered last time. Anna, Elsa, and Moana have all gotten upgraded for this particular movie. But even with this expanded roster, there are a few notable snubs, from Hercules as Meg and Hunchback's Esmeralda, to Princess Eilonwy from Black Cauldron and Kida from Atlantis the Lost Empire. So just like last time, we have to deduce what separates the princesses inside the room from those outside the room to backdoor our way into the requirements for getting in, which will in turn allow us to determine if Vanellope truly meets all the criteria. Now, the fact that Mulan's in the room already eliminates the requirement of being an actual princess, i.e. the daughter of a monarch or the wife of a prince. As we covered last time, Mulan, for as cool as she is, never actually assumes princess status. Even still, it's worth mentioning that Vanellope is a princess in her own game. It is literally written into her code. So even if this was a requirement, well, she would definitely qualify on that front.
True, she's literally a princess. It's literally written into her code to make her.
Once inside the room, the princesses toss out a few lines that are less qualifications for princess status and more tongue-in-cheek jokes at Disney's expense.
Kidnapped or enslaved? No, are you guys okay? Should I call the police?
Rapunzel asks if Vanellope has magic hair, but obviously that shouldn't qualify someone as a princess because Rapunzel is the only person in the room with magic hair, unless you count Pocahontas' perpetual breeze blowing on her. So epic. Elsa asks about magic hands, but again, it's the same problem here. Elsa's the only one with those. Funny enough, even though Vanellope answers no to a lot of these questions, she actually qualifies for a bunch of them. I mean, think about it. Does she have a magic power? Yeah. In her first movie, she has the power to glitch, a power that she hones throughout the film and figures out how to control at the end so she can defeat the villain and reclaim her throne. Huh, why does that sound familiar? Oh yeah. Was Vanellope cursed? I mean, she says no in the trailer, but yeah, her code was tampered with in Wreck-It Ralph so she could be removed from the throne and placed into total obscurity for a long period of time. And if that doesn't sound familiar to you, well then maybe you should rewatch Tangled or Sleeping Beauty. Already, just based on those things, Vanellope is scoring higher on the princess meter than most of the ladies in the room, which actually puts her in pretty good position to become the next addition to the Disney princess lineup. But we can't make this call based on a few random qualifications thrown out in the trailer. We need to find something that truly unites everyone we see in this room and disqualifies everyone that we don't see in the room. So the next logical thing is to look at the end of the scene. Here, Rapunzel asks if people all think that Vanellope's problem problems were solved by a big, strong man when actually they weren't. When Vanellope says, "Yeah, what's up with that?" it's the punchline that confirms that Vanellope really is a Disney princess after all. Now, last episode I gave the girls a hard time about this because
case in point, literally they were ungrateful jerks.
Because guess what, Ariel? Both Triton and Prince Eric are forced to clean up your little mess and save all of Atlantica. How about complete
ungrateful little
thinking less about other people stealing your achievements and instead stepping up and owning your mistakes? That would be a good moral lesson. Sour grapes aside, this seriously can't be the qualifier for this room. I mean, sure, the older princesses in the room were indeed rescued by dudes who went around kissing unconscious women in the forest. But what about these ladies? It's awfully hard to argue that people think that the new guard of Disney princesses need a man when their movies specifically feature them flipping this narrative on its head. One of the most central themes of Moana is that a character like Maui, literally the archetype of the big strong man, is not the linchpin in the story. This theme is even more apparent in Frozen, where Disney intentionally takes the idea of love in princess movies and flips it around by making the handsome prince the ultimate villain. Love doesn't have to be romantic love. In fact, the strongest love is with your sister. It's actually a really nice message. Real talk, no, we got super sick of Frozen there for a while because it was so overexposed everywhere, but seriously, if we all take a moment to take off our jaded glass.
Alright, Creep SJW. Merch, Future Toy, Pointless.
It's a really good movie with some really good.
Hero, empowered, regionally approved. Funny sidekick, adorable
music, and honestly, it was really ballsy for Disney to do. So all that being said, is this room arbitrary? Is it just Disney giving up and randomly including some new popular princesses to keep everyone from complaining? Ha! Of course not. This is Disney we're talking about. They are way too smart for that. No, the Disney Princess Room in Wreck-It Ralph 2 doesn't come down to looks or animal friends or not needing no man. Nope, it's not about who they are, it's about what they earn. The qualification for Disney princesses in this room comes down to how much bank they can roll in for Disney. If you don't believe me, check out the stats. Websites like Box Office Mojo keep track of gross profits from movies going all the way back to the earliest classics like Gone with the Wind and Snow White, and even accounts for ticket price inflation. Now, this lets us compare how deep the royal coffers go for each of the Disney princesses that we see here, and it tells us a pretty clear story about what makes Disney treat a woman like royalty versus giving them the royal boot out of the Magic Kingdom. Looking at all the global gross adjusted profits for Disney princess movies, there are no surprises at the top of the list, with Frozen being the first modern Disney princess movie to gross over $1 billion globally with a single release. That $1 billion apparently buys you 2 seats in the Disney princess room. The rest of the princesses score between $673 million globally, with Sleeping Beauty down all the way to the low end of Princess and the Frog with $267 million globally.
Still hundreds of millions of dollars involved.
And $104 million specifically in the US. And wouldn't you know it, but that seems to be our cutoff. Anything that falls below the $250 million range for worldwide gross profits, or under $100 million in US profits, no longer makes the cutoff for entry into this room. It's the one thing that reliably separates the snubs from this room. Hercules, it only made $99 million in the US, so afraid Meg isn't getting past the bouncer. Hunchback, also in the low $100 million range domestically, and again, Esmeralda, kinda treated like a prostitute. Black.
Okay, yep, you don't want your daughter, you don't want the young girls to think that, maybe this is a profession that is... Alright, let's not talk about it.
Cauldron and Atlantis, both Disney movies featuring empowered female princesses, fall even further below the cutoff, so nope, they don't stand a chance. Remember, the Disney Princess merchandise brand makes over $1.5 billion every single year. So if these gals can't push ticket sales to their movies, then you know they're not worthy to sip lattes with the rest of the gals and, you know, sell dresses, tiaras, and dolls off the shelves. As an aside, I gotta point this out. Each princess wearing her signature pajamas at that slumber party is obviously the most blatant commercial for Disney apparel that I have ever seen. But then again, we on the internet apparently don't care. By the
Doki Doki Literature Club! Let me read this. Mulan in high tops and broad up jeans, Tiana's natural hair. This casual princess looks, wow! Love, love. Next is me. I don't care about the new Wreck-It Ralph It just looked like a product placement movie. Disney, princesses in.
Wait, Theorist merch is still on sale. Go get yourself a t-shirt. They're great. They're comfortable. You're gonna look amazing. So there you have it. You, women of Disney, are only worth what you're able to earn. That's gotta be worse than the messaging last episode. I mean, think about it. Disney is clearly pandering to your strong female pride in this trailer. But for all the woo girl power that's present here, they're not practicing what they preach.
True, it's pandering to your, wow, I'm a strong woman. I'm strong independent woman. But your money is going to their pockets.
The girls in this room aren't here because of their heroism, they're here because of money, Disney's bottom line. If inclusion in the princess room was truly about strong women who don't need no man, well then you would see less financially viable characters here. But they're not. They are kept outside of Disney's huge shiny blockbusters, swept under the rug alongside Dumbo's Jim Crows so that you'll forget about them, Disney's failures, and move on and buy yet another shiny princess dress. But with that said, now that we've found the crucial differentiator, basically that all our princesses are major 1%ers for Disney, we can finally decide if Vanellope belongs in the room or not. Based on the gross adjusted global profits for the first Wreck-It Ralph movie, it earned $471.2 million, which definitely qualifies Vanellope for the Rich Princess Club. In the US alone, it raked in almost $190 million.
That's a lot of money, a lot of money.
Beating out other princesses in the room like Mulan and Tiana, and thereby securing Vanellope a spot at the slumber party. She'll even represent a new category of princess, the Geek Princess. Actually, no, because Princess Leia would also qualify for the room, and she would probably be the Geek Princess. Maybe the Star Princess. Oh, she has no animal sidekick. Leia would be in this room, but as an official Disney princess, based on the qualifications last time, she wouldn't be. Anyway, Vanellope at the very least would be like the gamer princess. So there you have it. Based on the qualifications required to get into the princess room, Vanellope does indeed qualify as a Disney princess. And as long as Wreck-It Ralph 2 performs at the box office, she shouldn't get the boot, right? Well, had it been a month ago, I would have said yes. However, there might be one more wrinkle to this that puts Vanellope's place in the Princess Hall of Fame in jeopardy. It has to do with Disney's latest actions.
Okay, by mean latest, it means this video came out in the year 2018, so it might not be the latest as it came out 3 years ago. So anyways, let's continue. The Hall of Fame!
Not towards their princesses, but towards their employees. You see, in a recent controversy, Disney chose to fire the director of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, James Gunn, over a series of vulgar and inappropriate tweets that he made between 2009 and 2011. And having read those tweets, let me make it clear, they're really bad, especially as they relate to women and kids, which, if you're Disney, you're gonna be kinda sensitive about. I'm not gonna put them here out of fear of the kids who watch a video about Wreck-It Ralph and Disney princesses, but I am gonna put the link in the description so that you can read them and judge for yourselves, which you should do in any sort of circumstance like this. Read the information for yourself and make your own call. A lot of stuff gets mixed up with misinformation. Anyway, even though James Gunn deleted the tweets and apologized for them multiple times in the intervening years, Disney stated that, quote, "The offensive attitudes and statements discovered on James's Twitter feed are indefensible and inconsistent with our studio's values, and we have severed our business relationship with him," end quote. If this is Disney's policy with its employees, though, they're gonna start running into some issues with other employees. In this case, old Vanellope von Schweetz, voiced by Sarah Silverman. You see, just like Gunn, and quite honestly like a lot of comedians, Sarah's early work really doubled down on edgy, envelope-pushing humor, taking controversial, taboo topics and diving headfirst into them. For example, her show on Comedy Central, the Sarah Silverman program, had full episodes dedicated to jokes like blackface and sexual deviance. She's used racial slurs before on late-night programs and has actively said that she wanted to be the first person to make jokes at the expense of Martin Luther King Jr. All things that seem fairly comparable to what Gunn did on his Twitter feed. And just like Gunn, Sarah Silverman has apologized and made it clear that she's embarrassed by a lot of those early jokes of hers. Now, I'm not casting judgment here. I report facts and from those concoct theories. I have no problems with Sarah, and I think that she's done a lot of good for a lot of really positive causes. And I firmly believe that humor, acceptable taste, and most importantly, people change over time. But
true, humor change, acceptable taste change, people change over time, these sort of changes will happen.
With the James Gunn situation, Disney has set itself a precedent. It's there, currently being hotly debated in social media. None of us have a copy of Disney's Code of Conduct in front of them, but if Vanellope is truly contributing to the Disney princess powerhouse, we all might want to be prepared for a little change of voice acting, just in case. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And you think Wreck-It Ralph breaks the internet? That is nothing compared to Wreck-It Ralphs of the real world. People who actually want to break into stuff on the internet, including people's accounts, phones, and computers. King Candy, the hacker of the original Wreck-It Ralph, is creepy enough. You can bet that real internet hackers aren't nearly gonna be as sweet. So what do you do to stop them? Well, you use a VPN, like I do, and like a lot of my other fellow YouTubers do. And the one that I found the best results with is our sponsor for today, NordVPN. You could say that it protects the royal treasury of my film theory scripts. Now, if you've never used a VPN before, Nord is a great place to start because it's easy to use and you can install it across all your different devices. Whether it's the phone that you play Fix-It Felix on, the tablet you write your Disney fan fiction on, or the desktop where you complain in the comments that my theories are bogus on. Hashtag get MatPat off the internet. No matter what
Elsa is not sans, MatPat.
you're doing, you'll be doing it safely through Nord, which filters all the data coming in and out of your computer on the internet, making it a lot harder for someone to hack you or for other malicious stuff to happen to your devices. I mean, seriously, it's a lot of peace of mind because it's basically like your own personal internet filter. On a more serious note, as someone who just became a dad and has a baby monitor running on my Wi-Fi, you can bet that internet security has a whole new meaning for me now.
True, especially is to protect your young ones as a parent, as the pillar of the family. Yeah, that's very important.
But regardless
MatPat become DadPat.
of whatever information you're looking to protect, the websites you're visiting, your personal account information, whatever your reason for wanting to be safer and more protected online, check out NordVPN with the link in the description. Click it down there or head to nordvpn.com/filmtheory, nordvpn.com/filmtheory, where they're giving away a huge discount off their subscriptions with our code. Seriously, it is huge. It is 77% off, which is kind of a random number, but it's still a massive random number. It's like almost giving it away for free. So go there now because it's ending soon. Stay out of King Candy's clutches. NordVPN, 77% off. That's 1 7 away from jackpot. Although this is already a jackpot deal.
Ooh, wow, thank you so much for watching this video. This video came out in the year 2018 from the Film Theorists channel. If you do like this video, please remember to help show support and watch more of their videos. Their videos are very entertaining and educational. Yeah, entertaining and educational. Yeah, sorry. If you do like this video, please remember to like, share, subscribe to my channel, and comment down below if you have anything to share with us. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you all in my next video. Thank you so much for being so wholesome, positive, and just so nice to me, for your encouraging, uplifting words. Very motivating, inspirational. And I hope to see you all in my next video. But hey, that's just a theory, a film theory, and cut. Thank you so much. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye! I sincerely hope to see you all in my next video. Thank you. Thank you. Alright, so that is nearly 4 hours of live streams. I'm going to end my live stream right now. Right, let's prepare for tomorrow's morning's live stream. Okay, Mr. Starfire is a criminal. Hello, it's me, and they. Alright, hello everyone, it's me, and today let's watch this classic video together. Awesome. Anyways, I'm gonna end my live stream. Thank you all so much for coming over to my live stream. Thank you. Sincerely appreciate all of the support and encouragement towards my live stream today. Yeah, and I hope to see you all tomorrow morning. Yeah, which is around 12, 16 hours away. Yeah, and tomorrow 9 AM I think. But hey, that's just a stream. A live stream. But hey, that's just a stream. A live stream. Thanks for watching. Thank you. Yes. And I hope to see you all in my